This boy has some serious mental health issues, and no matter how much his mother looks after him, he always finds a new way to hurt himself. He's obsessed with the idea that if he endures enough pain, he'll unlock some unique skill or something, which is obviously wrong. Don't even think about trying anything like that at home. Seriously, I'm not joking. So it's no surprise that when he grows up with this crazy belief, he ends up in a mental hospital with all kinds of other freaks. Every one of them is obsessed with something insane and acts accordingly, making life miserable for the medical staff. Our guy is the craziest of them all, so he gets placed in a special room for the most unhinged patients. That's where he meets one particular guy who enjoys inflicting pain on others. One day, our MC Fan and his bro Jang come up with a genius idea to wrap Fan in wires and connect him to electricity. He gets fried like a chicken. Luckily, an ambulance arrives in time and takes both of them away. The doctor works his ass off to save Fan, non-stop cursing this lunatic who keeps coming back to the hospital again and again. Somehow, the surgery is successful, and Fan's condition stabilizes. The doctor finally leaves to rest, but Jang takes this chance to sneak back in. When Fan asks him to help him once again, Jang stabs him with dozens of needles, using his so-called universal method. That's when Fan's body finally gives out, and his heart rate drops instantly. Doctors rush in to save him. The head doctor doesn't even have time to finish his meal. He just saved this bastard, and Fan went and hurt himself again. Still, they do everything they can to save him. After all, they've already done it 48 times. And that's when the strongest man system activates. It enhances Fan's body. Now, the more pain he endures, the more powerful he becomes. Outside the hospital, Wang waited with the ambulance. Fan is supposedly fine now, and Lai Fu decides to take him by himself, leaving Zhang behind. The nurse gave him a mask, saying that the person who performed surgery asked her to give him this. Wang is shocked to see the fire sign written all over it. The director prays to not let the insane patients return to him, but his prayers are rejected right away when he sees the ambulance pull up. Wang pulls out the stretcher and falls to his knees, admitting that these patients are making his doctors need a mental check. Then, Wang holds Shi's shoulder, saying that he will take care of them better, and he leaves the patients along with the stretchers and runs off with his ambulance. Shi miserably turns to his mental patients inquiring about how they feel, and they both seem okay. They're taken to their room then, room 666, where they are tied tightly. Jang is uncomfortable while Fan trains his mind. The voice in his head is teaching him, and he feels more powerful now. They realize both of their skills, electricity and universal level, have been successful. They want to try the hammer method now. Outside the room, the director keeps an eye on them, seeing they are weirdly calm. The assistants know that the two of them plan to use a hammer, but gladly they don't have a hammer. Shi walks away, thinking everything is under control. But things are about to be twisted, as a clever and a strong psychopath are about to team up to be another pain in the butt for Wang. A girl walks at night in a dark alleyway, and suddenly she notices that she's being followed. Turning back, she sees a monster who attacks her, with blood splattering all over. Back at the mental institution, Fan makes a breakthrough and his body tears apart. He walks to Zhang, and his first question is, where is the hero's underwear? Our boy proudly says that it tore apart, and Zhang is mesmerized by the size of his manhood. When our hero's mate touches our boy's abs, they are super firm, knowing they can use the hammer exercise now. Later at night, a man is fixing the wiring when he feels a hand grasp him from the back. He is shaken, as he heard before that there are two souls haunting the place. He turns back to see Zhang and loses his crap. He tries to calm himself down, but he looks like a ghost to him. Recognizing Zhang as the patient of room 666, he is more concerned in saving himself, while our boy steals a hammer. Then, Zhang excuses himself, and the man wishes to never see Zhang again. The man sighs in relief, but going through his stuff he couldn't find the hammer. Suddenly he hears a sound coming from room 666. He goes to see what's up, and sees our hero getting hammered. Zhang looks back at him, and the man runs for his life. Meanwhile, the system notifies him that he has completed body training and can now enhance a body part, with some insane options on the list. The same man is now being dragged by the staff, but he yells, warning that there is blood everywhere in the room. But when they enter the room with the director, there's no sign of any violence. The man couldn't believe his eyes when the room had no sign of blood. The director is a bit weirded out, but assures that it was the man's imagination and nothing else. He cries and begs for his hammer, even if they choose to pay him more. Unless Shi doubles the money, the man won't be coming back. The director turns to Fan to return his hammer. Fan denies having a hammer, but he has an unusual bulge in his crotch. It's not what y'all think, but it's actually a hammer. He pulls it out and urges them to take it from his hand. Shakily, nobody goes to take it. Even the director is scared, as he doesn't want to meet his god just yet. But, with a pounding heart, he decides to take it from his hand, and the staff thinks of Shi as their savior. He hands over the hammer to the man, but the man notices that the director is sweating heavily. Later at night, the news reports indicate the monsters to be a trouble, and the Elite Four are sending help. Two insane men in the mental institution claim the reporter to be the wife and daughter of them. They hug each other, crying upon discovering the delusion that they are related. The news reporter also informs that Li Shan is being recruited, and Zhang wonders if Fan knows her. Our hero thinks it's his girlfriend, which even makes his mate doubt. Then, breaking news surfaces, where civilians are urged to stay at home, as a monster has been seen in the streets. On the other hand, Xiang Ying is confident that they will kill the dog-type monster in no time. Her squad decides to do it as a secret mission. They're sure that they can take the monster down, and people along with the government will praise them for it. The news channel indicates the date being 29th of February, but Zhang differs, thinking it's 7th March today. Fan wonders if his watch is wrong, but Zhang insists that he's got a luxury watch. Another insane man walks in, saying he'll fix his watch since he bought it from his place. He instantly fixes the watch and Zhang thanks him. Later, Zhang cries because he thinks he got scammed as the watch broke. Our boy hands him some coca to make him feel better, while he admits that the girl in his mind is talking again. She told him that he can open the imagined world now. The world's time has stopped, and now will only work again when he is done with his mission in the imagined world. His mission is to help the heirs of the founder of Qianqui Bai Lian Zhengjing to stop being bullied at school, and his mission target is Yang Yang. He holds his consciousness in front of a mirror in a lavish room. Being a man, his initial thought is to explore because he thought he was a girl, but he gets stopped midway as his mom enters his room. He realizes it's a boy dressed up like a girl. His name's Yang Yang. Later, he dresses up and sits with his mom for breakfast. She assures him to not worry about school. As she's guiding him over how to focus, he pours the whole milk in his bowl and eats the entire thing, calling it a delicious soup. His mom is left shaken. He walks outside, observing how peaceful everything is. Yang's mom told him to go to school. He steps in the bus and sees a girl struggling, so he gives up his seat for her. Then, Yang's classmate Zhang Hao steps in the bus. He gets angry as he realizes that Yang didn't keep the seat for Zhang. Despite threatening him to beat up, Yang doesn't budge, which creeps out Zhang. The girl says that he gave up his seat for her, which makes Zhang mad, and he's about to beat up our boy. Suddenly, a man shows up with a butchering knife, threatening he will kill everyone. He is about to attack the girl, but our boy heroically stops the knife with his hand. He confronts the monk, why he wants to kill everyone. But the monk yells at him to let go of the knife, and our boy bravely orders him to let go of it first. The man gets scared and lets the knife loose. Then, with a heavy voice, our guy urges him to answer his question. The ambulance and the police have arrived, and the man is scared of our boy approaching him. He begs and pleads with him to stay away from him. Meanwhile, Zhang, the bull boy, is now scared when Yang approaches him. They reintroduce and shake hands, where Yang's hand is sticky with blood. The nurse wraps his bandage, admiring how strong Yang is, because anyone else would be screaming with this open wound. He admits that he takes pain as a way of training, and his mind being strong is enough for him to keep any pain away from him. The nurse finds his behavior kind of strange. The man has been arrested, and when he sees our hero, he gets scared all over again. As Yang is leaving, the police officer honors his bravery and lets him know that they'll be contacting his school for praise soon. Our boy doesn't budge much. He walks away being late for school. The police officer wants him to take a day off because of his injury, but he says the same thing he said to the nurse, which leaves him stunned. Pain is a method of training for him. Reaching the school, Yang thinks of how good of a teacher Zhang would be here, and then walks in. He enters his classroom and sits on his desk. A thought struck his mind, where his actual mom was worried for him because he was a psychopath and he couldn't go to the school like normal kids. He's then pulled out of his thoughts as a girl comes and stabs his arm because he crossed a line. She is sure he's going to weep, but to her surprise, he doesn't even budge. She puts the pencil even deeper, but for our hero, it is just a regular joke that his mental mates used to often play with. To hurt him more, she stabs deeper, but he still doesn't give a reaction, so she pulls the pencil out and blood splatters out. At the sight of the blood, she loses her mind and then runs away crying. Zhang's friend, on the other hand, tells him that Yang scared his girlfriend, and they should teach him a lesson. But when Yang comes near them, Zhang meets him nicely out of fear, as he thinks he's not mentally right. His friend is surprised at Zhang's behavior towards Yang. Later on, the teacher enters the class and takes a test of the poem. She's known for her hot head, and the entire class is fearful of her. Then, she asks Yang to dictate the poem, but he calmly admits that he hasn't learned it, dropping the jaws of everyone since nobody has the guts to talk back to her. The teacher suddenly feels a chill because her sixth sense warns her that something is off. Yang politely asks if he can sit down, to which the teacher freezes, noticing that it is his smile that unsettles her the most. Still, she allows him to sit. Later, our guy thanks her calmly, while the students around them are shocked because they can't believe the teacher actually let him off so easily this time. The class comes to an end, and the teacher dismisses everyone. Afterwards, Yang is about to put a key into the power socket when Yang Shutian suddenly comes up from behind, shouting what Yang did to his friend Zhang Hao and the teacher. He grabs and threatens him, but Yang calmly explains that electric current can stimulate the human body, helping it become stronger. After hearing this, Shu Tian is stunned and dares him to do so. Yang takes on the dare and the shock comes literally as both are hit with electric current. Yang feels the surge but acts completely normal as if nothing happens. Another student wonders if Shu Tian could dance like that and even asks him to teach him. Excited, the students touch each other, but soon they all get electrocuted and collapse unconscious on the floor. And this all happens because of our protagonist. Yang pulls the key out of the socket and thinks the amperage is too weak, so his training is not effective. After that, he looks at the students lying on the ground and he assumes they fainted because they were studying too hard. After that, Yang goes to the toilet. Meanwhile, the math teacher walks toward the classroom and he freezes in shock when he sees many of them lying unconscious. Seeing all of this, he hurriedly calls emergency services, saying there are many students who have fainted inside. Yang returns from the toilet and looks through the window, noticing the ambulances, and wonders why so many students fainted in such a short time, and thinks to himself that high school is really scary. Later that evening, all students of class 12A2 were electrocuted except for Yang. Moving forward, a girl is hiding behind the tree and nervously calls Yang, to which our guy notices her. The girl nervously steps out as she holds something in her hand. Before she can finish, Tangji suddenly rushes forward and snatches the letter from her. He laughs and calls it a love letter, saying it must be for Yang. Other classmates gather, shouting and teasing as classmate number 1 and classmate number 2 join in the mocking. Tangjie holds onto it, making the situation worse. The girl struggles to take back her letter, but before Tangjie can react, Yang quickly snatches it from him, to which Tangjie becomes furious and dares him that if he reads the letter out loud in front of everyone, he will spare him for today. Further, Yang looks at the girl and asks gently if she wants him to read it for them. She denies and Tangji slams his fists against the tree beside the main figure in anger and demands once more if he will read it or not. The girl pleads with Yang to just read it so he won't be beaten. Still, he doesn't listen to them. This enrages Tangji, who shouts that Yang dares to challenge them. One of the classmates steps forward, taunting Yang and asking what he wants. Yang simply raises his fist and strikes the tree with a single hit. The tree cracks, breaks, and crashes to the ground. At the school entrance, 2 students rush to the teacher, reporting that Tang Jie is bullying Yang from class 1's Zaz. The teacher rushes there, but the scene before them is completely different from what they expected. Instead of Yang being bullied, Tang Jie is the one trembling, forced to apologize under Yang's watch. The teacher stands frozen, unable to process what is happening. Yang, once thought weak, surprises everyone when he confidently confronts Tang Ji, the school bully. With a friendly pat, he tells Tang to stop fooling around and eat properly, leaving the terrified bully agreeing instantly. The teacher and classmates are stunned, unable to believe the reversal of power. Rumors spread that Yang has turned the tables on Tang Jie. Afterward, Yang returns a pink letter to a nervous girl, who bravely admits it was meant for him. Remembering that pink letters usually mean a confession, Yang listens as she blushes and says she likes him, asking him to be her boyfriend. Before he can respond, the teacher interrupts, forbidding romance at school. Later, Yang rejects her, saying his goal is to become the strongest man. Hurt and angry, the girl calls him a bastard and runs away. Left confused, Yang recalls old Zhang's words that girls are impossible to understand. Remembering how she once saw him differently from others, Yang dreams of a future confession, but now he himself rejects her. His first love ends before it begins. While the nurses bicker about students' bad habits these days, they went on to cut the hero's clothes off. Hearing that, Zhang exclaims over his expensive Armani suit being cut off. The nurse snaps at him, saying that he needs to hold back over his behavior, or he'll be dead soon. At the same time, the injured students groan from their beds. One recalls that the doctor said they were all electrocuted. A student insists he never touched any electrical source, to which another speaks up, remembering that Zhang Hao had touched Yang Shutian right before collapsing. Soon, more voices agree, saying the same thing happened to them, and they only fainted after coming into contact with Yang Shutian. After hearing all of this, Yang Shutian explodes in frustration, telling everyone to stop blaming him. Further, he recalls how he only tapped Yang on the shoulder. Later, Shutian suddenly said Yang wanted to stick a key into the socket, and also Shu admitted he never thought that Yang would actually go through with it. The others piece it together quickly that the real reason for the electrocution was Yang putting the key into the socket, to which Shu Tian confirms it was all because of him. Now confusion spreads, and some students start looking around and realize that Yang isn't even among them. Shu Tian confidently suggests that he must be lying in the emergency room by now. Then, someone wonders aloud if Yang might already be dead. Even though Yang often acted strange and came across as queer to them, he wasn't unbearable. In fact, some of them recall how he would often share snacks with the class. Despite considering him an embarrassment, they quietly admit it would be a pity if he really died. Suddenly, there is a knock on the door. Another wonders if the doctors are entering and thinks it's the perfect chance to ask the nurse for help retrieving his phone and assumes it must be their mother calling. Before they can react, Yang appears, standing there, and asks if they are the students from Chuangwei High School. After seeing Yang, the entire room falls into shock. Moving ahead, Yang greets them cheerfully, saying he is their classmate. He has come to visit. The students stare in disbelief, and they whisper in shock that he is still alive, completely unharmed. Yang continues casually, pulling out bags of food. Furthermore, he announces that he has brought snacks for everyone. The students watch in stunned silence as he distributes the food, still unable to believe what they are seeing. Afterwards, Yang hands over the packet to Yang Shutian, saying it belongs to him. Yang Shutian, however, replies with disgust, shouting that he doesn't want it and telling Yang to leave him alone. Additionally, Yang Shutian accuses Yang of playing some kind of trick. Before things turn ugly, Zhang Hao steps forward and tries to calm the situation. He calls him Brother Yang and quickly explains that Yang Shu doesn't mean what he says. Instead, he politely asks Yang to share the food with the rest of them and thanks him with genuine respect. Yang Shu stares at Zhang Hao in disbelief and shouts that Zhang must have lost his mind for showing such respect to our guy. Just then, one of the students checks their group chat, and the mood changes instantly. A new message has been sent in the private group of the school's top bosses. The video reveals Yang standing fearlessly against Tang Ji, forcing the bully to admit his mistakes. Even Yang Shutian, who just mocked Yang, can't stop himself from shaking. Finally, with his pride swallowed, he forces a nervous smile and thanks Yang for coming to see them in the hospital, even admitting how thoughtful it was of him to bring snacks. A man is about to jump off as he recalls his wife's cold voice echoing in his ears, telling him to stop wasting her time and to just sign the divorce papers. Her words still cut like knives, telling him he wouldn't live much longer anyway. Not only had they been married for over 10 years, loved her and built a life together, but now all he could feel was betrayal and emptiness. Then he jumps off. Suddenly, everyone notices movement outside, and their faces turn pale as they realize a man is falling from the top of the building. In that instant, Yang reacts and stretches out his arm through the open window, grabs the falling man's wrist with one hand and pulls him upward with strength. Using his other arm and shoulder for support, he drags the man safely back into the hospital room. Later, Yang looks at the man he has just saved and asks why he tried to end his life, to which the man explains his pain that he is suffering from a terminal illness and believes he will die soon. In addition, he confesses that his wife has been unfaithful, bringing another man to him and forcing him to sign divorce papers after more than 10 years of marriage. Yang pats him gently on his head and tells him what the principal once said, that when faced with something bitter and painful, sometimes you just have to cry before finding a way to deal with it. Hearing these words, the man breaks down completely and clings to Yang's leg. Just then, a rush of nurses and doctors bursts into the room, and they shout in surprise when they realize what has happened. The patient who had jumped has been saved, and the scene leaves everyone stunned. The doctor is stunned at Yang's actions. Then, Zhang Hao points out that Yang's arm looks badly injured, but Yang glances down, only now noticing the blood running from it, and it is broken, which makes everyone wonder how he can still stand so calmly. Yang brushes it off, saying it's nothing, and promises he'll fix it later, as if this sort of pain is normal for him. Zhang Hao and Yang Shutian exchange glances, calling him their big boss with excitement, cheering at his strength. In the group chat of Class 12A2, messages fly fast, and everyone is talking about how Yang is the strongest fighter in school, someone to admire and even bow to. Tang Jai, once the biggest troublemaker, lowers his pride and admits his mistakes and nervously asks if he can become Yang's junior. Lying in the hospital bed, Yang insists that pain only sharpens his mind, and he knows this place and the people around him far too well. After hearing this, the nurse whispers to herself that he must have lost his sanity after so much hardship. As the staff prepares to put him under, Yang tries to speak, saying he has not, only for the nurse to mention she has already injected the anesthesia. He barely manages to add that he doesn't have money before drifting into unconsciousness. The scene suddenly shifts, and a report-like voice announces that his mission progress has been analyzed. The hostility directed at him has dropped, while admiration and respect from others have risen beyond the required level, and the mission is confirmed as complete. The description is clear that in the illusionary world, the task was to protect and support the descendant of the founder of the Qian Shui Bailian art, ensuring Yang would no longer face bullying. Also, the status is marked as successful with the highest evaluation, an S rank. His rewards are listed, and those are mastery of the Qian Shui Bailian art, a top-class technique, along with Qigong training resources. With the mission accomplished, the system declares that the frozen flow of time in his true world will resume. The countdown begins. 3, 2, 1, and everything around him dissolves as he returns to reality. Inside Dingshan Mental Hospital, Fan sits in room 666 with Zhang by his side, and further explains that the strange voice inside his mind tells him he was trapped inside an illusion world, forced to live as a madman wearing women's pajamas, to which Zhang listens with disbelief, finding it disturbing and twisted. Meanwhile, the scene shifts to Yang. He slowly opens his eyes, and pain floods through his body at once. Moreover, Yang is crying, and the voice echoes in the room. His mother calls out to him, holding him close. Yang Yang's body shakes from the unbearable pain, while his mother desperately tries to comfort him. Moving forward, Yang stands at the school entrance, waiting nervously and glancing around for his mother. She has gone to park the car, but the minutes feel endless, and he doesn't want to step inside on his own. In addition, he silently wishes she would hurry back. Taking a deep breath, he finally walks into the campus, but as soon as he enters, Yang becomes shocked, as his classmates, even the ones who used to mock or bully him, are all there, lined up and watching him. A voice from the school reporter echoes across the yard, and they are announcing a special story about Yang Yang from class 12A2, calling him the student who has bravely stood up to the gangs without flinching. They speak of him like a model student, someone others should admire. Yang's face grows pale from the sudden attention. Students crowd closer, praising him and cheering his name. The girl even confesses admiration, saying how brave he is and how unworthy she feels compared to him. In Manhwa City, the headquarters of the Special Force holds a tense meeting. Liu He stands in shock as he hears the news that the cursed creations are showing signs of increased intelligence, to which he wonders if this can really be true. Lin Taoming feels restless and thinks that if these creatures are truly becoming smarter, humanity would not even have a chance to survive. Moreover, he wonders why they are sitting there instead of preparing for their last moments. Shinsung wonders what the future will hold if the cursed creations really continue to grow in intelligence. At that moment, the leader brings clarity and further explains that there is no need to imagine possibilities, because the research team has already confirmed the matter. Additionally, he reflects on the danger, noting that if cursed creations of equal level become more intelligent, fighters will struggle to defeat them. This thought leads everyone to realize that the entire city will be in danger if the threat keeps rising, and also the force members are already on alert, yet many begin to wonder whether the lower-level fighters can even handle such a crisis. Lin Taoming feels hopeless and thinks that they could either die from exhaustion or be killed by the creations. Plus, he suggests that perhaps all they can do is return to their homes and prepare for the worst. Despite this despair, the leader of the Manhwa City Special Force, known as Cyclop, steps forward and tells Lin Tao with anger that as the strongest fighter in the city, he believes that survival now depends on whether stronger warriors will rise to face the challenge. Everyone sings the birthday song for the president. Also, the master feels glad, sharing how happy he is to celebrate his birthday this time. People cheer, saying the moment is wonderful and praising the president as the best. Plus, they urge him to make a wish, to which he hopes only for a peaceful day. Suddenly, news arrives that the patients in room 666 are causing chaos and influencing others, to which the president struggles with the thought of using a forbidden method, but reminds himself that a president cannot do that. Lin Fen, Zhang and others lift up papers showing drawings that look like 2 eggs and a sausage. Someone wonders if the small circle is a quail egg, noticing similar shapes as well. Lin and Zhang refuse these choices, saying they do not want them. Instead, they eagerly point to another option. The crowd feel relieved when the president finally arrives, and Lin and Zhang immediately insist on what they want. The president refuses at first, saying he cannot give it to them, but they keep demanding with determination. At last he gives in and orders the warehouse to bring the items. People wonder what exactly they are asking for, until it is revealed to be heavy equipment, including dumbbells of 50 kilograms and a big training bag. Lin and Zhang receive them with excitement and begin their training right away. After finishing the routine, Zhang announces that Fan is now a qualified fighter, to which Lin thanks his seniors sincerely. From all directions, the man in the yellow jacket gathers the natural forces under his command and unleashes an explosion. A level 2 cursed creation, the Devil Dog, emerges fiercely. Afterwards, Shang Ying quickly takes out a first-grade pill and uses her healing power to restore the injured man in the blue jacket, and with renewed strength, he channels his sword technique, shifting from heaven to hell and from yin to yang, attacking the Devil Dog's chest with force. The creature growls in pain, but the fight continues as the man activates his golden body to block the attack. Despite his effort, danger rises when the Devil Dog suddenly turns and charges toward Shang Ying, causing the man in the yellow jacket to shout. Shang Ying falls onto the ground, and also blood comes from her mouth. Indeed, it becomes clear that the creature's first target is the healer. Seeing the danger, the man in the yellow jacket realizes how tough this beast is, and calls for Shang Ying to be taken away. He quickly gathers energy and shapes it into lightning charms for defense. Meanwhile, the man in the blue jacket takes the attack in order to shield the yellow-jacketed fighter and urges the others to escape while they can. With urgency, the man in yellow turns to Shang Ying, asking if she is able to move, and begs her to rise quickly, promising to hold the monster back long enough for her to get away. The man in the yellow jacket attacks the Devil Dog with his sword. At the same time, Shang Ying takes a second-grade pill and begins restoring her strength, focusing on her healing power. The battle grows intense as the yellow-jacketed fighter struggles beneath the crushing weight of the beast's claws, calling out to Shang Ying in desperation. He gathers all his strength and uses an old power from his ancestors, releasing an attack meant to destroy demons. A loud blast follows, and the devil dog roars in pain, stumbling from the force. Jang lies in the garden, staring at the ground and counting the ants moving around. Suddenly, a system congratulates the main character for gaining the chi training technique at the mortal level, a method that strengthens the body by drawing energy from the sky and the earth. Calling out to Fan, Jang notices one of the ants and wonders if it looks like it is crying. After that, he glances at Fan again and asks if something is wrong with him. A warning appears to the main figure and explains that the chi training technique is an ancient and very powerful skill. Also, it is beyond the host's current limit, and the body risks bursting apart. Plus, blood comes out as Jang touches Fan's head with the pin. Jang quickly uses the galaxy transition acupuncture to stabilize him. Our hero screams in pain, and the force knocks Jang backward onto the ground. Looking at the ants again, Jang sighs over the disaster, pitying them like he pities the situation. The system then announces that Fan's body has awakened the absolute vision, which removes the risk of explosion, to which the protagonist feels stunned, wondering why such a rare ability has suddenly appeared. Later, Fan calls out to Jang, explaining that he had been training while following the strange voice in his head, and also the process felt painful and uneasy, yet he feels relieved that Jang helped him through it. After that, Jang checks on him, asking about his condition and pointing out that his galaxy transition acupuncture is surely the best technique, to which our guy nods with a smile, agreeing that it truly is. Not long after, Fan's stomach growls loudly, and he admits that he is extremely hungry, to which Jang hands him an ant, explaining that it is called ma chi xiadu, a type of insect rich in protein and calcium, making it safe to eat. Also, he assures the main character that the taste is similar to crab vermicelli. Jang tries one himself, finding it a little sour but still edible, and our boy looks at him curiously, surprised by his reaction. It is lunchtime, and everyone is called to the dining room, to which Jang pulls Fan along, happy that they can now eat real food like crab vermicelli instead of ants. Soon, the others complain that all the food has already been eaten by Fan, to which Jang remarks that our guy will probably vomit and give it back anyway, so there is nothing to worry about. A nurse notices what happened and reports to President Wang that patient No. 1 from room 666 should stop eating before he gets a stomachache. The doctor steps in and wonders if the main character is suffering from an eating disorder, saying more details are needed. Our boy keeps insisting he is still hungry and wants more food, but Dr. Wang suspects it might be an eating-related disorder. At that moment, a system message appears saying Lin has obtained the chi training technique at the mortal level, and also this skill lets his body absorb power from the sky and earth, but it also causes a side effect. From now on, he will always feel hungry and must eat large amounts of food. On his jacket, the words read, "The Special Squad Investigation Team." The investigation team enters the cave and discovers a body lying on the ground. The case falls under the supervision of the leader of Mianhai City, known as Cyclop, whose team carefully examines the scene, and his presence makes the team more alert. The leader receives a report confirming that the victims were 4 top students who had recently graduated with honors. Despite being a 4-against-1 battle, all of them were killed, proving rumors true that cursed creations are becoming more intelligent. A simulation reveals that the level 2 devil dog first targeted the supporter, breaking the team's formation and ensuring victory. The leader explains that even fighters of the same level would struggle against such a creature. When asked about its location, he admits it likely escaped through the sewage system, using the stench to hide its scent, though it was injured. Since the site is close to their camp, he orders heightened vigilance and raises the warning level for the beast. He also instructs his men to inform the victims' families, allowing them to take their children home, acknowledging the students' bravery, but omitting their recklessness to spare grief. 2 hours later, chaos unfolds in the medical ward as a doctor warns that a patient, our guy, is eating unusual food and demands further checks. Jang, pretending to be a loyal friend, distracts everyone by hitting himself, allowing him to finish eating unnoticed and complete his secret mission. Later, our hero's uncontrollable hunger drives him into the kitchen, where terrified cooks scream upon recognizing him as the patient from room 666. The president compensates the cooks with a salary raise for their shock and demands updates on Fan's test results from Dr. Wang. Meanwhile, far away, the wounded devil dog hides in a secluded spot, sensing no nearby fighters. It lies still, waiting to recover and regain its strength. The devil dog is injured and decides to transform into a puppy. Because his fellow cursed beast told him that humans love these little puppies, and seeing them injured probably would make their hearts soft, making them take care of him. On the other hand, Zhang's watch is broken again, because his watch says it's 29th February, but his nurse earlier told him that it's 2nd of March. He wants to get it fixed, but neither of them have money. Jang comes up with a master plan of kidnapping since it brings a lot of money. He decides to kidnap his own best friend, Fan, as he thinks his girlfriend would pay for the repairs of his watch. But Fan doesn't even have a girlfriend. But Zhang urges his girlfriend to be the news reporter, to which the delusion further escalates that the reporter is Fan's wife, according to him. Jang now ponders upon the situation that it doesn't sound too good, taking money from the wife. Suddenly they both hear a puppy's voice, which is trying to get in. Zhang notices that the puppy is injured. Meanwhile, the puppy has extended his body to reach the window. They let the puppy in, and Zhang is sure that he can heal him, since he knows acupuncture. The dog is greedily excited as he thinks he could eat them both after he is done healing. Well, he should have not taken acupuncture from a madman. The dog is uncomfortable, and yet Zhang thinks some more needles would do him good. Meanwhile, his body feels like it would burst. Then, Fan's stomach gurgles out of hunger, and a system notification pops up. He has found a living being with great energy which can ease his hunger for 3 days. And the target is right in front of him, the dog. He looks at the dog with cute aggression along with his mate, and the dog gets scared, wondering if they are really even humans. The dog gets terrified seeing the psychos wanting to eat it. Zhang, losing hope that his acupuncture will work, pulls the needles out. Lin Fan suggests that since the dog is going to die anyway, they can wait for it to die and eat it. The cursed dog doesn't think that it's going to die so soon. Our psychos start petting the dog, thinking it's his last moments. The dog grows angry seeing the humans eagerly wait for its death. Zhang worries that the dog isn't dying, but Lin Fan assures him that it'll bleed out soon. The two psychos patiently wait for the dog's death. Zhang asks his friend for the dog's thigh and gets excited when he agrees. The cursed beast, now tired of holding back, suddenly returns to its beast form. The dog feels offended that the humans want to eat it after calling it cute. Seeing Zhang get more excited after the beast transforms makes the dog even angrier. It opens its jaws wide to eat Zhang, but then our hero steps in and grabs the dog by its fangs and throws him down. The dog is shocked to see himself knocked down. It tries to bite Lin Fan, but to its shock, the human's arm is too strong. The dog is shocked to see its teeth fail to bite a human. Zhang steps forward, wanting to pet the cursed beast. As Zhang extends his hand forward, the dog grows angrier and more ferocious. It tries to bite Zhang, but Lin Fan slaps the dog, knocking its fangs out. He tells the dog to be obedient towards his friend. Zhang hugs the dog while it lies injured. The dog is left wondering about the strength of the fighter. The cursed beast starts wondering about the fighter's level, and with Lin Fan's strength, he knows that it's way above level 4. Zhang, adoring the dog's soft fur, tells his friend he wants to see it wag its tail. The dog feels too proud to wave its tail at humans, but to avoid Lin Fan's beating, he starts waving it. However, Zhang is still not satisfied and wants the dog to swirl the tail. The dog finds its rights violated, but a little force and petting from Lin Fan convinces the cursed beast, and it starts swirling its tail around. Seeing the cursed dog swirl its tail, Zhang cheers up. He finds it lucky that the dog grew up so there can be enough meat for them. Lin Fan starts drooling, thinking about his meal, but Zhang wonders how they can cook it. They share their favorite dishes, but our protagonist has a voice telling him that the beast will taste better with plum wine. However, another problem is that they don't have fire to cook the meat. The dog sighs in relief, thinking its life will be saved, but then Lin Fan asks if they can use electricity. Old man Zhang quickly says yes and tells his friend that he smelled really good during his electricity training. Seeing the humans talk about electricity and cooking a dog, the cursed beast starts wondering what kind of psycho world he has ended up in. The dog starts screaming as Lin Fan lifts it up. Electricity courses through our hero and the cursed beast. Zhang gets excited at the sight of his food being cooked. The other patients see bright light coming through Lin Fan's window and think they're having a party. The electricity spreads through the dog's body, and our psychos start to smell the meat grilling. The dog curses its captives but slowly loses life and moves to heaven. After the dog is fully cooked, Lin Fan and Zhang check if the meat is cooked properly. They cut its skin off and start drooling at its smell. While they enjoy their delicious dinner, the nurse Lu Jiang visits their floor to check on the electricity outage. He visits the room his colleagues told him to check, wondering if it's special. As he opens the door, the light shines upon our psychos holding the beast's head. Lu Jiang gets terrified and starts sweating. He quickly shuts the door off and runs away screaming for help. Later, the nurse complains to the president, still terrified and sweating. The president sees the breaker fixed, and then the psychos greet him. He turns to his patients and shockingly finds a dog fur mat lying on the floor. Heiran grabs a piece of fur, and to his surprise, he notices the level of the cursed beast's energy. He asks the patients what they did, but our psychos claim that they've been asleep all that time. The nurse complains that he was sure he saw them eat ahead. The president grows angry and asks Lin Fan to show what he's hiding under the blanket. Lin Fan puts the blanket away and shocks everyone with his chest glowing. However, the light was only a torch. He hands it over to the president, and when Heiran asks about the fur, they both refuse to answer and go to sleep. The president sighs in frustration, feeling that the hospital has exhausted him too much. After he turns the lights off and leaves, our psychos get back up, and our hero asks his friend how the president always knows when he hides his stuff but not Zhang's needles. The old man Zhang flexes his hair and tells his friend that's where he hides the needles, making Lin Fan consider growing his hair out too. The system congratulates our protagonist for consuming the level 2 cursed beast and increasing his stats by 20 points. Meanwhile, Cyclops looks out to the city skyline, furious at the cursed beast for hurting so many humans. He suddenly receives a call from Ran informing him about the patients killing the beast he has been chasing. Cyclops refuses to believe the president, thinking he's just making up stories. But the president asks him to visit and hangs up the call. So, Cyclops opens the window and leaps out to meet the old man Ran. Meanwhile, Lu Jian sneaks through the hospital, looking for the skull to support his claim. He turns around the corner and sees the skull lying around. However, he didn't expect it to be that big. Something suddenly shifts his attention. He turns around and turns back to the skull and finds it moved a little. Lu Jian starts trembling, but then suddenly, something hits him and knocks him out. The president traces the cursed beast's movement as found in CCTV and reaches a pothole. The skull of the cursed dog chases him from behind. As he turns around, he sees Cyclops holding the skull. Cyclops asks Ran how the level 2 beast could die but doesn't trust his words. He refuses to believe that 2 ordinary people can beat a cursed beast. However, the president assures him that the psychos are no ordinary people and hands him over a file. Cyclops reads the diary and is shocked to know that our protagonist has tried to kill himself, but never succeeded, and instead got stronger. He now believes that the psychos killed the cursed beast, but wonders how. The president tells him he doesn't know, and Cyclops' shock grows even more when he learns that the psychos ate the cursed beast. Now realizing the talent of the 2 patients, Cyclops wants to see them. The next morning, our psychos start a staring contest. However, after looking at the sky for a little while, Zhang's eyes get tired, and he asks his friend to blink. So Lin Fan blinks to let his friend win, and Zhang cheers in excitement. Cyclops is surprised to see our hero stare at the sun directly without it destroying his eyes. If the patient has any talent, Cyclops asks the president to leave Lin Fan to him, and the president gets excited. Cyclops tries to convince the president, but he needs no convincing. Ran jumps in excitement and offers Zhang along with Lin Fan for as long as he wants. However, the only condition is that he can't return the psychos, and the hospital will not be responsible for any accidents. Cyclops thinks that the president is worried about the patients getting hurt, and assures him that they'll be fine. But deep down, the president worries for his staff. Cyclops further adds that the cursed beasts in the city are increasing, and he needs more fighters. He worries that the beasts are evolving and getting intelligent to the point where they've started hiding among humans as pets. The president worries about humanity, but the fighter assures him that he'll defend his city no matter what. However, there's still a limit to a fighter's power, which is why Cyclops needs more of them. Cyclops walks up to the 2 psychos and asks them how they could kill and eat a level 2 cursed beast. Our hero and his friend tell him that they didn't do anything and the dog killed itself. Cyclops charges his fist and tries to scare Lin Fan, but to his surprise, our hero doesn't even flinch. However, he thinks that the psycho can only reach level 3. Zhang tells his friend that the man seems to want to train him. They both start blushing, but Lin Fan rejects Cyclops, saying he doesn't suit him because he's missing an eye. Zhang excitedly presents himself and offers to help Cyclops heal his eye so he can train Lin Fan. Cyclops thinks that they're talking about their suicide attempts, but Zhang tells him his friend is already strong and he only needs to level up, which is why they need to heal his eye. Lin Fan praises his friend's acupuncture technique and tries to convince Cyclops to take it. Zhang starts circling around the fighter, trying to convince him. Cyclops thinks about how not even the top doctors could fix his eye, but he decides to do it anyway, thinking he's too strong to be hurt by needles. A few needles in, and Cyclops starts feeling something strange. Zhang excitedly continues to add more needles, naming each technique. He sings praises of his years-long research, and his friend confirms his skills. Cyclops starts feeling a little numb, which he likes. He didn't activate his protective layer, thinking it was just a joke, but then it started stinging him a little. After the last needle, he feels something penetrating into his brain and suddenly passes out. Lin Fan stops Cyclops from falling. Zhang feels upset that his new technique didn't work, and eager to try his new modifications, he asks his friend to try it. Lin Fan agrees, but even after a second attempt, he passes out, leaving Zhang to wonder what could be the problem. Zhang starts looking around to see someone to perform another experiment on, and a moment later, he too passes out with needles poked into his brain. The president walks up to the 3 and wonders how Zhang could hide the needles all those years. He's surprised to see a national-level fighter beaten by the psychos. Meanwhile, the Huatian hospital receives a call, and the staff gets terrified hearing the special ringtone. Ran tells the hospital to send in 2 ambulances because they have 3 injured people. The ambulances quickly arrive and take away the patients in a hurry. However, seeing the bandage over one driver's eye makes the staff worry, but the driver assures them that he can drive, and the ambulances leave. Meanwhile, at the Huatian hospital, Li is annoyed to be receiving the psychos again. He thinks about killing the patients as an accident, and slaps himself for thinking something so cruel. Li gets frustrated and calls Ran in anger. He screams at the president for sending the psychos again along with another patient. Ran tells the doctor he should have kept them longer, which makes Li even more angry. Ran tells Li to check his wallet for a gift. Li happily checks his wallet, and then Ran asks him to keep the patients a little longer, otherwise he'll out him for taking the bribe, making Lee even angrier. On the other hand, Lin Fan reaches level 55 with his growth rate increased by 100%. With his unstable mind, the system chooses the optimized solutions. The nurses gossip about our psychos and their miserable lives. Meanwhile, Lu Jian is being fed by a girl. The girl says that she's fat, but Lu Jian assures her that he likes her anyway. He then tells her that the tests showed they can't have a child, but the girl assures him that they can adopt a child and agree upon a son. The doctor tells Lu Jian that he's free to go if he doesn't get shocked again, and right then, the nurse brings in our psychos. Seeing Lin Fan, Lu Jian freaks out again and passes out. Meanwhile, the system congratulates our hero for reaching the last stage of Jinjai. Lin Fan trolls Lu Jian for crying while he begs the doctor to not let him stay with the psychos. Lu Jian and our protagonist lock eyes, and suddenly, Lu Jian passes out again. Cyclops lies in bed, wondering how he could pass out with needles so easily, when not even a gun can harm him. He starts wondering how a psycho could hospitalize the strongest fighter in the city and refuses to believe that it was the needles. Right then, our psychos see their subject wake up and rush up to him. Jang feels upset that his patient's eye didn't heal and thinks he can fix it with one more try. Cyclops tells Jang to try once more, and the psycho's eyes light up in excitement. He takes the needles out of his hair and prepares to try it once more. However, a moment later, Cyclops passes out again, and the nurses hurry him to the operation room. Lin Fan assures his friend that he'll get it next time. Cyclops, back in his room, is surprised that the needles knocked him unconscious. He refuses to believe it because not even a level 9 beast could knock him out. Jang walks up to him and apologizes for not doing it properly. He asks Cyclops to let him try once more, and his eyes light up in joy when the one-eyed fighter agrees. The only reason Cyclops agreed is to confirm that it's the needles that knock him out, because he refuses to let his pride as a hero break. Jang takes the needles out once again, and the nurses have to rush Cyclops to the emergency room once more. Jang feels upset, but his friend assures him that his patient will survive. Cyclops returns to his room again, but his one leg is temporarily paralyzed. He refuses to believe that a psycho could paralyze him. Jang worries that he doesn't trust him anymore, but Lin Fan assures him that Cyclops trusts him like he does. However, our national fighter grows frustrated and gets angry at the psychos now. Fan and his friend taste their drinks and realize it's not what they thought it was. They want to buy Coke and Sprite, but they have no money. Therefore, they decide to scam Cyclops, their new target. They try to sell him a Rolex, along with Zhang's affordable acupuncture. Cyclops, annoyed, tells them to go away, but Fan tries to be a great salesman and shows Cyclops a Rolex sketched on his arm. Cyclops' only mission is to figure out how they killed the dog. To get his answers, he offers to give them the money if they tell him how they killed the cursed beast. The psychos start explaining that the adorable dog just did everything they asked, including grilling himself. Cyclops grows frustrated to learn that the cursed, rampaging dog just let them pet him and kill him to feed their hunger because he finds it unbelievable. Our psycho patients start drooling over the thought of the dog's meat, and Cyclops grows angry, refusing to believe their nonsense. He admits defeat for asking for information from psychos, and our patients are completely oblivious, wondering who he's referring to. Having fulfilled their bargain, Fan and his friend ask for their money. Cyclops hands them over his card with 50,000 yuan and gives them his PIN code. With his parents dead and having no family, money holds no value to him. However, the mentally ill patients return Cyclops his card, thinking he's trying to scam them. Cyclops screams at them to go to the bank to get the money, but the mentally ill still think he's trying to scam them. Meanwhile, the cursed mystic snake roams the forest, aware of the people in the hospital devouring the fatal dog's energy. But apart from the dog's aura, he can also sense a fighter far stronger than him. Knowing that the snake can't win this battle, he decides that it's best to avoid going in directly and waits for those people to get out first. As the snake crawls the woods, he sees two people hooking up. Hearts pop out everywhere around him, and if it wasn't for the fighter, the snake would have turned into his original form and devoured them. As the woman continues to count her money, the snake wonders if that's the fallen woman he was told about. With the smell of human flesh, the mystic serpent grows eager to eat her. It starts to crawl towards her, hoping that it won't be recognized. The snake slowly crawls behind the woman while she counts her money. Suddenly, two boys start to pass by, and the snake notices the dog's aura on them. The woman notices the boys and calls them in to play with he. Fan and Zhang, looking around for Coke and Sprite, notice the woman and walk up to her. They both ask the woman if there is any place to buy Coke and Sprite and some food from. The woman notices them holding each other's hands and gets disappointed, thinking they're gay. The psychos once again ask her about Coke and Sprite but tell her that they don't have any money. The woman notices their uniforms, and after a little thought, she realizes that they're from Tiansan Hospital. Suddenly, a past memory takes over the woman when she ran looking for her sister. She finds her sister on the floor, crying before a man as he tears down the doll that she thought was her son. Now crying from the horrible memory, the woman asks Fan and Zhang about their family members. They both turn to each other and tell her that they're each other's family, and Fan's mother flew abroad. The woman is touched after learning how Fan's mother abandoned him. She takes out some of her money and hands it over to the psychos. She tells them where they can find a food stall and asks them to hand it over to the staff for the money. Our patients refuse to accept her money, but the woman insists, assuring them that she can easily earn more. Suddenly, the cursed snake leaps towards Fan, excited to devour the cursed dog's energy. But surprisingly, our patient catches it before it gets the chance. The woman is terrified to see the snake, but our patients, too insane to fear it, start petting it, thinking that it looks adorable. The snake starts blushing after being called cute for the first time. The snake is taken into flashback when he tries to approach a little kid thinking the kid would find it cute. However, when the kid saw the snake, it screamed in fear and ran away. However, the snake feels adored for the first time. He realizes that the two boys are different from the others and considers them the chosen ones. The system notifies our protagonist that the snake can ease his hunger for 3 days, and its energy can be stored, and it adds up the time of hunger ease. While the system shows our hero the best recipe for a mouth-watering snake dish, the snake feels loved and adored by its captives. So, Fan asks the woman for help. A little while later, even the neighbors catch the delicious smell as the woman cooks the snake meat covered in sauces. When Fan tries to cut the reptile with a knife, the blade shatters. He then tries to cut it with his hands. The snake celebrates, thinking that if a knife couldn't cut it, a human hand can't either. However, as our protagonist pulls the snake's head, he tears it apart easily. After the soup is fully cooked, our patients start drooling as the woman puts the pot before them. She assures them that her cooking is delicious, and her daughter loves it too. Fan and Jang invite her to eat, but she refuses because she has eaten already. Our hero and his friend take the first bite, and instantly fall in love with the delicious taste. Before leaving, Fan and his friend thank the woman for the delicious food, and tell her her daughter would be proud of her. The woman gets confused at first, but then thanks them. While walking back to the hospital, a group of fighters passes by our protagonist, and a sudden terror takes them over. The guy shrugs it off as overthinking. Seeing the beast's energy wave disappear, they think that it must have run away. Meanwhile, Cyclops talks on the phone about someone killing a cursed beast. He learns that none of the fighters killed it, but finds the idea of an ordinary person killing it impossible. Worried that the threat may be a level 2 mystic serpent, Cyclops tells his people to take care of the safety around the hospital. Right then, our patients walk in, bringing food for their roommate. As Fan opens the lunchbox, the sight of the dish makes Cyclops let out a curse that even his underlings hear. Cyclops takes the bones, and as he examines them, he realizes that they were from the level 2 mystic serpent his team had been looking for. Meanwhile, Fan and Jang start enjoying their delicious snake soup they had parceled earlier, and realizing that Cyclops doesn't want to eat it, they think about eating it all. Cyclops is surprised to know that a level 2 cursed beast with fatal venom and lightning speed is now in the patient's stomach. He asks them how they killed it, and the psychos start explaining how the snake cutely curled around their arm and let them eat it. While they praise the snake for being adorable, the cursed beast curses them for betrayal. However, Cyclops still doesn't believe them and grows aggressive listening to their unbelievable explanations and threatens to jump out of the window. The psychos see his aggressiveness and think the president was referring to that when he said psychos get aggressive. Later at night, Cyclops thinks back on how the two psychos with a weak appearance can easily kill 2 cursed beasts. He wonders if they're hiding their true power. Suddenly, he hears our protagonist and his friend moving around and wonders what they're up to next. Jang stands before Cyclops, ready to cure him with his upgraded technique. Now accepting that the patients may be hiding their true strength, Cyclops decides to play along to find out the truth. Jang starts to trace Cyclops' face with needles, but he struggles to see clearly in the dark. However, with the reassurances of his friend, he starts the procedure. Jang starts inserting needles in his patients' heads. Cyclops trembles in pain, feeling it stronger than before. As Jang prepares to insert the final needle, the nurse suddenly barges in, and he misses the right spot. The nurse confronts the psychos, and Cyclops, reluctant to abandon his search, screams for help. The nurse is instantly terrified at the sight of the patient, and the doctors rush Cyclops to the operation room. Meanwhile, Jang feels bad for inserting the last needle wrong, but his friend once again assures him that he'll get it next time. The hospital ties the two psycho friends to their beds, but Fan's only worry is Cyclops' health. The doctors carefully shave off Cyclops' head to not cause any more injuries. After shaving it off, they examine his head and begin the procedure. However, the moment they look down, they find their patient fully conscious, staring them dead in the eye. The doctors are taken by surprise, but they take a sigh of relief, feeling grateful that the patient woke before the operation could even begin. The other doctor is surprised to see Cyclops conscious because he had just injected the anesthetic, but seeing his vitals perfectly fine, they decide to send him back to his room. The doctor feels bad for the patient getting harmed by other psychos, so he offers to send him to a private room. Cyclops gives her a death stare for calling her a psycho, and the doctor realizes that he needs to be careful with his patients. After checking everything, the doctor examines his patient's X-ray and surprisingly finds his backbone back to normal. He then turns around to ask about his leg, but confusion takes him over seeing the empty bed. Meanwhile, Cyclops goes back to his room. As he stands before the sleeping psychopaths, he can be nothing but impressed by their ability to knock him unconscious 3 times. However impressed the leader of the special squad may be, he can never make the same mistake after what our protagonist and his crazy friend did to him. As Cyclops turns around to leave, Fan wakes up and assures him that Zhang will heal him next time. Cyclops, completely speechless, walks towards the window, says his goodbye, and jumps out. The moment Cyclops jumps out, Fan starts screaming that the patient has killed himself. Meanwhile, the leader of the squad lands on the ground, leaving the pedestrian surprised. He then tells his boss on the phone that the psychopath's strength is useless if they can't communicate. The man on the phone shows disappointment and frustration for having his hopes drained. On the other hand, the hospital management calls the president, telling him that one of the patients jumped off the balcony. The president nearly lets out a happy sigh but then asks about the well-being of the patient. The president feels relieved to learn that the patient is okay and assures the management that an event like this is normal and they don't need to worry. However, the management isn't worried about the patient. The guy on the call screams at the president that his patient ran away without paying any money. The president puts the phone away and pretends to not know who the caller is. The hospital management grows angry for being ghosted and curses the old man for scamming them. Zhang is sad to learn that Cyclops has left. He worries if his target's new eye will appear. Fan assures his friend that Cyclops would be fine. However, Zhang feels sad and starts thinking Cyclops left without saying goodbye because of him. Fan, remembering the wrong details of the incident, assures his friend that Cyclops said goodbye, but he can't remember what else he said. Zhang sighs in relief, thinking that Cyclops must have had a reason to leave. Fan assures him that the leader will let Zhang acupuncture him next time. But then, Zhang notices the apples and tells his friends he wants to eat them. Fan reaches out, grabs an apple, and hands it over to his friend. As Zhang tastes the apple, the sweet taste takes over his mouth, and he suggests his friend try one. Meanwhile, the vice president drives the ambulance by himself to retrieve his patients and pay his debts. At the first harbor, or Yenhei City, the fighter squad faces a cursed level 4 octopus. The squad struggles to hold their ground before this beast. They use all their fire tricks but fail to land even a scratch on the octopus. Suddenly, the octopus releases a black mist, and fear takes over the fighters. The squad recognizes the fatal fog. Their faces turn pale, and they realize that the beast they're fighting is level 5, not 4. The deadly fog could end their lives just at a touch, and realizing that they have no other option, the fighters start to run for their lives. The fog continues to get thicker quickly. The fighters realize their imminent doom, and suddenly, a protective shield is cast upon everyone. As they look up, they see a shadow standing at the top, and let out a sigh of relief at seeing their boss. Cyclops, planning to scold them, decides to save his fighters first. He activates his Buddha Dragonic Glow. The lightning courses in his hand, and he strikes the octopus with all his power. Meanwhile, the hospital ambulance gets stuck in never-ending traffic. The vice president wonders about the cause of the traffic and notices people running in panic, screaming about a cursed beast. However, the vice president struggles to hear their screams, and right then, a corpse lands on his windshield, making the stakes now clearer than ever. Cyclops takes out the level 4 octopus in an instant. He lands down on the ground, but as he stands beside the octopus's corpse, he gets confused, sensing the energy of a cursed beast. The fighters are shocked, and suddenly Cyclops learns that one cursed beast managed to escape through and is now heading towards the city. Meanwhile, at the bridge, the cursed beast rampages through the traffic, but our psychos are only worried about food. They were left with 2 apples, and even those didn't erase their hunger, and the voices in Fan's head tell him that he needs a lot of energy in the late phase of the breaking stage. Everyone at the bridge starts running in panic as the octopus rampages looking for its dad. The vice president tells the driver to bring the ambulance's first aid to help the injured guy. The driver insists on leaving before the beast comes. The vice president tells him to leave after getting the first aid. He then throws a watch to the driver and tells him that he got it from a kid he saved on the first day, and since then, he swore to never abandon a patient. Huang asks about the 2 patients in the back of the ambulance, but the doctor shows no empathy for them. If anything, he tells Huang to use them to slow down the beast. So the driver opens the back of the ambulance and tells the patients that he's going to let them run because a cursed beast is coming. The psychos look towards each other for a moment and break through the restraints on their own, leaving Huang surprised. Our protagonist follows Huang out but suddenly stops to ask if the beast is cute. Huang, weirded out by the question, hesitantly tells them that the beast is okay. Hearing about that, the psychos get excited and tell him they want to play with the beast. Huang starts to question the sanity of the patients. The level 8 cursed octopus continues to look for its dad, not knowing that it's going to find our protagonist waiting for it. Meanwhile, the vice president screams at the driver to get him more bandages. The cursed beast slowly gets closer to them. The injured man tells the vice president to leave him and run for his life, but the vice president stays and insists on helping his patient. At last, the octopus nears our doctor and his seriously injured patient. The octopus sees 2 humans and asks them about his dad like a lost child. Not being able to receive any answer, the octopus raises its tentacles, ready to crush them to death. The patient thanks the doctor for not abandoning him. They both get ready for their death. The octopus moves its tentacles around, and they close their eyes, accepting their deaths. But right when the octopus is about to hit them, it stops. Fan grabs the beast from its tentacles, pulls it back, and drags it down the bridge. The vice president, trembling in fear, looks up but is surprised to find the octopus gone. Right then, Huang comes running in and informs him that the ambulance can't move through the traffic, but he has spotted a car, and they have to take that to drive the patient to the hospital. The vice president is taken by surprise seeing the driver return, but Huang tells him to shut up and hurry before the beast comes back. The vice president takes offense to his tone, but he can't do much since Huang saved the day. Meanwhile, the cursed octopus is confused, not knowing where it is. The excited Zhang hovers over the bridge, wanting to play with the cute octopus. His friend Fan tells him to jump on the octopus. So Zhang takes a leap and lands right on the octopus's head. He starts playing with the octopus, which makes the beast angry. The cursed beast flicks Zhang off with its tentacles, and Zhang comes flying down. Fan no longer finds the beast cute for hurting his friend, and in trying to hold it, he tears down one of its tentacles. The octopus starts hurting and calls its dad. Zhang assures his friend that it's okay because the octopus has many tentacles left. The cursed level right octopus starts screaming in pain, having his tentacle torn off, and gets angry. It starts to move its tentacles aggressively and nearly hits Zhang. But then our protagonist grabs the octopus's tentacles and rips another one apart, leaving the beast screaming in pain. Zhang grows curious seeing a roasting grill lying around, and an idea pops into his head. Meanwhile, the cursed beast screams in agonizing pain and starts cursing our protagonist as he tears its tentacles apart one by one. Fan grabs a bite of the octopus's tentacles, making it scream in pain. The beast warns him to let go, but then suddenly, a delicious smell grabs the beast's and our hero's attention. As they turn around, they find unhinged Zhang grilling some seafood. Zhang continues to oil the tentacles and roast them on the grill, and the smell makes even the beast hungry, and he starts drooling. However, the octopus's hunger turns to anger when he notices that they were cooking up his tentacles. The beast screams in frustration, but our unhinged protagonist and his friend ignore him to focus on the delicious meat. Fan and his friend continue to eat the delicious octopus meat until Zhang notices only one is left. Despite eating so much, both psychos start to feel sad seeing their food nearly end without easing their hunger. Having no tentacles left, the octopus cries for its remaining head. It curses the psychos and calls its dad for help. Zhang notices the beast's head left last and takes a moment to think. Fan, knowing where his friend is going, agrees with his idea. They both give each other a thumbs up in agreement, and the octopus's head ends up on the grill too. As the beast's head continues to get roasted on the flames, it prepares to say goodbye to its dead. Zhang oils the head while it grills and notices the octopus's huge eyes and realizes that it might still be alive and they can eat it. Fan, worried that the octopus might die without its eyes, suggests eating those too. And now, the octopus, with only its eyes left for grilling, says his goodbyes to this world. At last, the fighter squad reaches the site of the incident. However, they cannot see the cursed beast anywhere. They start searching for the beast's energy, and the scans show them underneath the bridge. The nerd shows the scans to Cyclops, but the energy wave suddenly disappears, and only our psycho friends remain asleep underneath. Cyclops gets aggressive, seeing that the two people under the bridge are the ones he never wanted to see. The scans show the last location of the energy wave, but the beast itself remains a mystery to the fighters. Cyclops notices the roasting grill and hopes that they didn't cook the beast again. The girl suggests waking the psychos up to ask about information, but Cyclops doesn't think believing the mentally insane is logical. He starts shouting at the girl for even suggesting believing a psycho's word and threatens to shave her hair if she ever says something like that again. At first, the girl ignores her boss's warning, but seeing him recognize psychos easily makes her fall in awe of his intelligence. However, the location of the beast still remains a mystery, and to solve it, Cyclops stomps towards our protagonist and his friend in anger. He asks them if the octopus was tasty, and their affirmation confirms once again that they ate it, solving the mystery. Meanwhile, back at the headquarters, the leader of the strategy department briefs everyone about the fighters' encounter with beasts who could conceal their powers, indicating that the beasts are evolving and getting smarter. However, Cyclops is too busy thinking about how our protagonist and his insane friend could easily defeat 3 high-level beasts. He considers training them for a moment, but then he suddenly remembers the experiments they did on him. Cyclops' face turns pale in terror just at the thought of it happening again, and he decides it's better to forget it. On the other hand, the leader concludes the brief and notices Cyclops' odd behavior. She confronts Cyclops, thinking that he's doubting her analysis, but our innocent leader of the squad has no idea what's going on. The strategy leader announces that the fighters of all 4 academies will have to move to Qingshan Mental Hospital to enhance their mental power in a month. She then runs her hand through Cyclops' bald head to confront any questions he may have. All the leaders start thinking that the trainees can stay at the mental hospital and join after finishing the easy trail. However, they don't dare question the top-class tactician. Everyone remains silent except for Cyclops, who thinks that a trial like that is too difficult for beginners. The other leaders are left shocked, wondering how the strongest person among them could say such a weak thing. The strategic leader thought that Cyclops would consider the trial too easy. She clarifies that the trainees' strength can be measured through battlefields, but their ability to improvise in difficult situations is important as well. Since the enemies they face are unpredictable like psychos, she thinks it's best if they train at a mental hospital before fighting in a war. While Cyclops thinks about how terrifying psychos are, all the other leaders cheer excitedly after finally being convinced. So, the strategy department's leader starts to brief on the situation. She explains that the appearances of the cursed beasts have been reduced because they're trying to divert the fighters' attention. The room is left speechless when they learn that a high IQ beast is leading the low IQ beasts. The woman further adds that an event like this has never happened, and that is a sign of impending doom. No one knows what the level of this leading cursed beast could be, and they need to gather more information. 3 days later, an ant finally reunites with the other ant, when suddenly, a hand reaches out to them, tearing them apart once again. The ant again makes it back home while Jang watches them curiously. He grabs the ant again, leaving the other one crying. Lin Fan starts looking for his friend. Jang hears him calling, drops the ant, and runs excitedly towards him. Jang excitedly tells our protagonist how the ants keep finding their home no matter how much he separates them. As the two friends sit under a tree, Jang tells our friend how he had been sleeping for 3 days. Lin Fan starts wondering if he's really a pig for sleeping so much. But then he tells his friend that he didn't sleep much because a voice in his head kept telling him that sleeping mode would help him break through the limit, and now it says that he has reached Tia level, and he decides to give it a try. Meanwhile, the ants reunite once again and take a sigh, realizing they can finally go home. Suddenly, electricity zaps through a finger, destroying the tree. Jang cheers in excitement seeing his friend's strength. His eyes light up in pride, thinking that our friend got stronger because of his galaxy circulating technique. On the other end, as the ant crawls back to its home, it finds it completely destroyed and starts cursing our psycho friends. The ant starts crying seeing its partner's dead body. All the other ants start to gather around to support their friend. All of their reassurances make the ant emotional, and she thanks her friends for the support. Meanwhile, the people from the hospital start gathering around the large collapsed tree and wonder who could do this. On the other hand, Zhang, knowing that our protagonist fully intends to touch the electrical transformer, tells him that it's dangerous, and he won't be able to save him if his level isn't high enough. Lin Fan assures his friend that the psycho in his hand told him he can do it, but Zhang remembers the president saying psychos can't be trusted. However, Lin Fan has his trust in his friend. After some mutual reassurances, both psychos stand under the electrical pole wondering how Lin Fan can go up. Our protagonist takes a leap and directly lands on the transformer. His friend jumps in excitement. But then, the doctor sees the scene, and his face turns pale at the patient's stupidity. Lin Fan starts absorbing the electricity. Energy flows around him like Goku charging up, and he cheers as his body charges up. The doctor calls the president to inform him about the scene, but the president, already aware, tells him the ambulance is coming. However, the doctor thinks that a coffin car would be more suitable this time. Suddenly, a bright glow lights up everything, and a huge explosion goes off, throwing our hero back on the ground. The bystanders think he's dead and stop everyone from touching Lin Fan as the electricity still courses through his body. Zhang breaks through the crowd and runs towards his friend to check up on him. Lin Fan raises his hand and tells him to not come to him because he's fine, but he's tired, so he wants to sleep. As Lin Fan's hand falls back down, Zhang reaches out to his friend. As their fingers touch, the electricity sends Zhang flying across the field. The doctor, now amused by the scene, calls the president to see it for himself. Seeing the patient's body burn to a crisp, the doctor starts crying, saying that he can't save a patient whose 90% of body is burned. The nurse informs the hospital president that Dr. Liu has refused to do the operation. The president tells the nurse to do their best as long as the patient is alive. He walks into the operation room to lead the operation himself. The operation ends after 10 hours, and the president tells the nurse to take the patient back to his room after dressing his wounds. The nurse informs him that the president of the Qingshan Mental Hospital is waiting for him outside. The hospital president burns up with fury, angry at the president for his ignorance towards the patients. President Li angrily walks up to He Ran and tells him that he will never accept his apology, and he needs to pay the fee, including the one from before. He Ran tells him that he's here to talk about a membership for his hospital. President Li grows frustrated. His eyes burst red as the fire extinguisher behind him grabs his attention. He takes the fire extinguisher and threatens to kill He Ran, but the nurses stop him. The nurses drag President Li out to take some rest after his exhausting operation. However, He Ran still fails to see his mistake. Meanwhile, the next morning, Zhang remains asleep by our protagonist while he heals. The system notifies Lin Fan that he has reached the intermediate level. He suddenly opens his eyes and sits up. The system notifies us that our protagonist needs to stay calm for this practice, and he can get it in the shortest time. Lin Fan rips apart his bandages, taking his burnt skin off to reveal a completely fresher skin as a result of his new level up. He then taps his friend to wake him up. Jang slowly starts to wake up and jumps in excitement seeing his friend's refreshing body. The nurse is shocked to see the burned patient fully recover so quickly. A moment later, all the hospital staff gather around, amazed by the burned patient's quick recovery. They fall in awe of his perfectly fine and beautiful skin. Meanwhile, Cyclops learns about the psychos climbing the electrical pole and feels relieved that he doesn't have to cultivate them anymore. Thinking they're dead, he thinks about attending their funeral for sharing a room with them. But then, he receives a call, and to his surprise, the psychos are still alive. Cyclops is shocked that even the powerhouse level 3 died touching an electricity source, but the ordinary psychos survived. He thinks that they must be at level 4 and wonders if their level is higher than that. Now realizing the power of the psychos, he considers cultivating them again. Heiran cheers happily that the psychos are alive. As he leaves the hospital, the staff tries to stop him to meet the president about the membership card. However, the old man knows that his brother will keep chasing him, and it's better that he leaves. He tells the staff to let the president sleep because he worked all night and leaves. Meanwhile, a woman takes care of Li Yang in his room. Li Yang notices her torn bag. The woman tells him she can still use it, but he refuses to let her carry around a broken bag. He hands her over a card and tells her to buy herself a bag or anything else she wants. She accepts the card and tells him that Uncle Wang was coming to check up on him. Li Yang feels that this is the chance for him to thank his uncle for introducing him to a nice girl, leaving the girl blushing. As Li Wang walks into the hospital, he starts having weird hallucinations. He realizes that he has been having these visions ever since he ate that fish. However, Uncle Wang doesn't know that he ate a level 3 cursed parasitic fly with the fish. Uncle Wang continues to walk towards Li Yang's room, barely able to stand up, thinking that his only reason to visit Li Yang is the hope that his nephew raises his child. Suddenly, the uncle's back tears apart, and wings come out of his back. The nurse passes through the hall and is shocked to see a man suddenly transformed into a fly. Uncle Wang, now turned into a bloodthirsty fly, notices the nurse and threatens to suck her blood. The cursed beast chases the nurse as she runs for her life. The nurse, bleeding from the cuts, jumps into our protagonist's room, leaving him confused. The fly grabs her by the throat while she screams for help. It threatens to cut her throat to shut her up while the whole staff runs for their lives. The cursed beast, still holding the woman, gets ready to cut her throat. The nurse begs for help, and suddenly the fly feels a needle penetrating its skin. As it turns around, it sees Zhang trying to insert needles. Zhang tells the cursed beast that it'll explode unless he performs acupuncture on it to save its life. The fly now throws the nurse away and turns to Zhang to drain his blood out. Right then, our protagonist steps in and stops the fly from bullying his friend. Jane tells Lin Fan to ask the cursed monster if it agrees to his treatment. Lin Fan asks the beast about the treatment, but the beast remains fixated on cutting throats. So our protagonist grabs one of its arms and snaps it in half and asks again. The cursed fly screams in pain and threatens to kill them. As it tries to run away, our hero grabs its wings and tears them off of its body. The cursed beast screams in pain as it lies in the corner, completely helpless. Lin Fan asks the fly if it wants the treatment now, but doesn't receive any answer. Then he grabs the fly by the collar and orders it to let Zhang cure it. Lin Fan holds the cursed beast by the throat before his friend. Zhang wonders why he's holding it like that, and Lin Fan, remembering the way that it held the woman, thinks the fly likes it this way. Zhang, now satisfied with his patient, gets ready to heal him. As he starts inserting the needles in the slide's head, it starts screaming and sweating in pain. Zhang gets ready to insert the final needle. The cursed fly recognizes the danger of the final blow. It has never felt this fear. Suddenly, the fly speaks up to tell them it is a parasitic fly and they will kill the human if they kill it. The cursed fly thinks that the human's morality will stop them from killing it if they think they'll kill the human as well, and when they let their guard down, it can use its eggs in the humans it touched. As long as there is the food source, the fly can regain its knowledge and power and become a new parasitic fly. The fly starts to get excited, thinking that the human must be struggling to kill it. However, our patients do not share that human sentiment. Zhang inserts the final needle, and the fly is left shocked, wondering why the human didn't hold back. It wonders why this one is different than the others, and as the pain takes over the body, it collapses down on the ground. Suddenly, Li Yang's girlfriend gets frozen and calls her dad. As she slowly transforms into the fly, Li Yang screams in fear. He hides behind his bed, grabs his card, and runs out from his room. He closes the door behind him, turning pale in fear. The girl starts banging on the door. The nurse passing by sees Li Yang and thinks they're doing some weird couple things. As the fly continues to bang on the door, Li Yang screams that he can forgive her for cheating, but he can't ignore her ugly face anymore. Right then, the cursed fly breaks through the door, angry at Li Yang for calling it ugly. Suddenly, the vice president steps in. He grabs Li Yang from the back and faces the cursed beast with a huge sword in his hand. Li Yang falls in awe of his savior and grabs him by his legs and offers to be his servant. However, when the incident broke through, the vice president was sleeping peacefully after a non-stop 10-hour-long surgery. He wakes up thinking he forgot something and remembers Hei Ran's offer for a membership card. The sword grabs his attention, so he takes the sword and leaves, bursting into flame, looking for Hei Ran. Except now he has to kill a cursed beast. The vice president asks them to contact the special squad to hunt the cursed beast, and the staff informs him that they have already done that. The cursed fly breaks through the door and starts hunting for Li Yang again. As the fly gets near him, President Li steps in once again and shields the boy again. The boy once again falls in awe of the president for saving him twice. The vice president takes some seals and throws them at the cursed beast. As the seals touch the beast, the flaming vines start to restrain her. Finally, the fighter squad steps in and tells everyone to escape. One of the fighters uses his golden body, while the boy from the squad uses his mindful stance sword and penetrates through the fly in an instant. The special squad starts to clean up, and as they look for the energy wave, it disappears, confirming the kill. However, the scans also saw a level 3 cursed beast that they think could be the fly's father. As they start looking for it, the system detects a high energy wave so strong that the current team can't even handle it. The squad tells everyone to protect the citizens as they wait for reinforcement. Suddenly, the fighter squad's faces turn pale as terror takes them over. A giant shadow hovers over them, and they wonder how something like that could even exist. Everyone at the hospital starts running to save their lives as a giant 3-headed monster rampages through everything. Jang suddenly stops to ask why they're running instead of helping the injured, and Lin Fan diverts his attention towards something else. The giant level 7 ancient parasitic fly stands before our protagonist and his friend, ready to take its revenge for killing it. Jang now realizes what his friend wanted him to see, and he wonders if the cursed beast is cute. 10 minutes before the level 7 cursed beast appears, Jang starts crying after his patient dies. He feels bad that he was trying to help someone but failed. Lin Fan pats his friend's head and reassures him. Jang still feels bad, worrying that he'll be arrested for murdering someone, but our protagonist tells him that he'll still be with him. Lin Fan breaks the window glass and tells his friend to escape. All the cursed beasts that our protagonist killed start cursing him. Just before the psychos jump through, the injured nurse thanks them for saving her life. The psychos giggle in happiness, and then Lin Fan jumps down. He then tries to encourage his friend and tells him death doesn't matter. On the other hand, everyone else at the hospital starts running in panic. After the level 7 beast appeared, the energy detecting center realized that the level 4 fighter team they sent would be useless before this monster. Cyclops decides to heroically save the day, but the head of strategic decisions stops him because she believes a level 7 cursed beast must have a reason to appear. Just to be safe, she wants a national hero like Cyclops to be with her, and orders the level 8 fighter team to go instead, because she believes they can handle it. Meanwhile, our protagonist and his unhinged friend stand before the cursed monster, still finding the horrendous beast cute. The cursed beast threatens to kill them. The system notifies our protagonist that this cursed beast can ease his hunger for 7 weeks and suggests a cooking method. Lin Fan extends his hand forward, and as he lays his finger on the beast's leg, it rips apart, leaving the man behind shocked. Jang starts to jump in amusement of his friend's power. Our hero's attack power equals a full power attack of a level 9 fighter of this world. On top of that, our hero's clear mind gives him a much greater power than usual. The way to attack is to stalk the power and then touch a surface to release it. However, Jang wonders how his friend can touch such a giant monster. To demonstrate, our protagonist takes a huge leap into the air and puts his fist through the cursed beast's head, exploding it in an instant. The level 4 fighter is left shocked with the psycho's power, wondering who our hero is. The cursed beast starts screaming in pain. Lin Fan hits it on the other head. The ant strikes back, throwing him back on the ground. The ant tries to hit our hero with its pointy claws, but he keeps dodging it. Suddenly, his level 5 defense activates it, making him invincible. As the end strikes its claws, it gets confused, seeing its enemy's hard skin. Our protagonist grabs the beast's claw and rips it off with a punch. Meanwhile, Jang is worried that his friend finds the ugly fly cute and thinks about fighting for having a different idea than his friends. Our hero continues fighting the giant ant, making Jang even more worried that his friend wants to eat an ugly ant. As Lin Fan walks up to his friend, Jang tells him that he thinks the ant is ugly and asks if he thinks differently. Lin Fan throws the ant away and assures his friend that he can never think differently than him. Jang's eyes light up in happiness, seeing our protagonist agree with him again. The system tries to convince its host to consume the level 7 beast, but it fails before the power of friendship. On the other end, in a collapsed hospital building, the fighter squad tries to keep up the shield to protect the rubble from falling on them. Barely able to hold their ground, they wait for their boss to arrive. The energy monitoring system finally announces that the level 7 cursed beast has been slain and the energy wave has disappeared. Meanwhile, after refusing to eat the ant, Jang suggests continuing their escape. The system, hopeful that it can turn its host around, tries to convince him again. However, Lin Fan, after using a powerful strike, has consumed all his energy and collapses on the ground. Seeing his friend knocked unconscious, Zhang starts crying and tries to wake him up. The level 8 fighter squad arrives at the squad, looking for the cursed beast. Hote notices the remnants of energy in the air, but then, they stumble across the beast's dead corpse. Seeing the beast dead already, they wonder who defeated it. Meanwhile, Zhu Xiao assures Zhang that his friend is just in a coma, but he's completely fine. She's surprised to see his empty head and body clean without any wounds. She then checks up on Zhang, and his heart beating like an old man confuses her even more. The fighter squad calls Xiao to help the people in the collapsed building. She turns around, but then Lu Jin comes crawling out and tells them that Lin Fan is the one who defeated the monster. As he starts coughing up blood, Xiao rushes towards him and gives him a level 2 recovery pill. After Lu Jin takes the pill, Xiao seats him to rest while she leaves to help the others. The fighter squad continues to help the injured people. Seeing no injury on Lin Fan, they keep him seated aside to help the seriously injured get on the ambulance. The doctor tells our psychos they can go home if they feel okay. Suddenly Lin Fan wakes up. Zhang jumps in excitement, and Liu Jin's eyes glow in excitement seeing the powerful fighter. Suddenly remembering that they killed a guy earlier, our protagonist and his friend think all the people are here to arrest him. So they feel that running would be better. Our protagonist and his friend start crawling away while Liu Jin tries to call them from behind. By the time the doctor comes back, he finds them already gone and thinks that their doctors took them home. After escaping the hospital grounds, the psychos walk through the open city. This being his first time in the city, Zhang starts feeling anxious seeing so many people. However, our protagonist assures him that he'll protect him. Zhang promises to always help his friend, and as they dance through the city like best friends, the people around notice their mental health problems. As our protagonist and his friend take a break to rest, they talk about the delicious octopus they had grilled before. While all the other cursed animals get angry for being eaten, Uncle Wang agrees that octopuses taste good. The jealous octopus starts talking about how delicious humans taste. Meanwhile, Zhang notices a van in the distance, thinking that they must be bullying people. Inside the van, a man sits pointing a gun at a rich kid, trying to blackmail his family for money. He tells the kid to talk and asks the parents for 5 million. The kid tells the kidnapper that he should increase his price because he's asking too low. The driver and the kidnapper, agreeing, yell at the parents for 500 million at their place of choice. However, they still remain amateurs. So, the kid teaches them to make a deadline and some threats to make the parents worry more. The kidnapper gives the parents a deadline till 3 and threatens to cut their son's finger if they don't comply. He also reminds them that they cannot go to the police because he will know, and their son will face the consequences. But the amateur kidnapper has no spies in the police, so he turns to the kid once again. The kid tells him that the threats are just a trick because the parents wouldn't want their kid to get hurt. Having finally learned everything about kidnapping, the kidnapper yells into the phone once again and hangs up. He starts feeling proud of himself for saying the right things, but then the kid bursts his bubble and tells him that he took so long on the phone that his call must be tracked by now. Realizing that the security will be surrounding them in 10 minutes, the kidnapper gets angry and threatens to shoot the kid. However, the nonchalant kid blames the kidnapper for talking for 47 minutes on a call. The kidnapper grows even angrier and out of control, but his getaway driver stops him, reminding him that the kid is worth a fortune. Suddenly, Zhang steps into the van, interrupting the kidnapper's heart-to-heart. The angry kidnapper now turns to Zhang and fires the gun. However, just as the bullet was about to hit him, our protagonist catches the bullet in his hand, saving his friend once again. Lin Fan tells his friend that he saw in the movies that the gun can hurt him really bad. Zhang asks his friend for help in taking revenge for shooting him. However, he wants Lin Fan to control his power, so they don't kill him because they're still trying to run away. The kidnapper starts trembling seeing our protagonist's power. He tries to not be scared, and suddenly our hero sends him flying out of the van with just a punch. He assures his friend that the kidnapper is still alive because he didn't use much power. Zhang then tells the kid that his bullies have run away and helps him get out of the ties. The kid notices the patient's uniform. Lin Fan starts feeling hungry again, and his system calls him out for missing the chance to eat a level 7 cursed beast. The kid invites his saviors for a meal as a thank you, and they all run before the kid's security team arrives. Meanwhile, the security team reaches the scene of the crime. They see the kidnapper and his accomplice, and not knowing who they are, ask them if they've seen a kid. The van driver takes this opportunity to mislead and tells the security that he saw the kid being taken away by 2 people in a patient's outfit. He tells them that his brother tried to save the child, but they beat him unconscious. The kidnapper finally wakes up, screaming in pain. The driver hugs him emotionally, and the soldier finds the kidnapper's voice familiar. The security team learns about the kid's location and prepares to leave. In the hospital, Liu Jin tells all the level fighter squad how our hero destroyed the level 7 beast with his immense power. Wang Luo asks him where the hero went, but Liu Jin tells them they ran away without even looking at him. Shudokai finds it heroic that our protagonist left without even leaving his name. Liu Jin, to tell everyone what the savior looked like, decides to draw him. He finishes drawing the portraits and tells his senior that he wanted to be a painter before, so his drawings are realistic. All the seniors start admiring the painting for its realism, and think it could help them find the fighters. However, only one of them sees the crooked doodles and wonders if they're seeing something different. Our protagonist, along with their new friend, goes to a 5-star restaurant. The waitresses recognize them as the escaped hospital patients and wonder if they can even pay for the food. However, the waitress recognizes their mental hospital uniforms and worries about the security of the restaurant. She advises the other waitress to not provoke them even if they don't pay the bill. Even after a full meal, our protagonist remains hungry. His system informs him that the normal food can never fill up his hunger, and he once again regrets letting go of the fly. Zhang, on the other hand, feels full. The newly met friends introduce each other, and Xiaobao orders more food for Lin Fan. The waitress starts bringing in more food. The empty plates continue to pile up, but our protagonist still can't feel his hunger erasing. The waitress now grows worried that her insane guests might end up dying from eating too much, and wonders if the restaurant will have to compensate. However, Lin Fan still can't ease his hunger, and his system tells him that there's no point in eating more. So, he suggests leaving, but Zhang tells him that if he isn't full, then he can't consider that Xiaobao has invited him. As our hero and his friends walk out of the restaurant, the waitress calls the police to report that 3 people are leaving without paying. Suddenly, the restaurant scans Xiaobao's face and processes the payment in an instant. The waitress gets shocked as her imagined reality breaks, and now she looks like the crazy one to the police. On their way out, Zhang gets excited seeing the games in the streets, so Xiaobao decides to take them to the games. But he also wonders why mental patients would want to play games. Meanwhile, in the arcade, Zhang grows tired of continuously losing to his new friend and asks Lin Fan for his help in taking revenge. Our protagonist joins in the fight, but Xiaobao continues to beat them. Xiaobao starts boasting about his video game skills and his win rate. Our hero punches through the screen and declares his win. Zhang gets cheery, celebrating his revenge. Xiaobao starts thinking that Lin Fan's strength isn't that great, but he's still impressed by the way he beat the kidnapper before. Lin Fan explains that he's low on energy. Suddenly, someone fires a gun. The shot strikes Lin Fan in the head, and he falls. The security squad suddenly barges into the mall, pointing guns at our protagonist and his friend. Zhang starts crying, worrying about his friend's life. He trembles in fear seeing the guns pointed at him, worried that he'll get hurt. Xiaobao tries to speak, but the guard covers his mouth. After a little struggle, Xiaobao finally yells at his security guard to not fire. However, it was too late by then. The shot had fired, nearly missing Zhang by an inch. Our hero suddenly wakes up, grabs the soldier's gun, and bends it. He grabs the soldier by his throat and lifts him up. The whole squad points their guns at Lin Fan, but they start trembling, wondering why a clean headshot didn't kill him. Xiao steps into the center and orders his security to step down. He tells them that the 2 boys didn't hurt him. The squad puts their guns down. Xiaobao accepts the squad's fault and apologizes to Lin Fan on their behalf. He requests his new friend to forgive his people. Zhang walks into the squad and calms the air. He tells his friend to forgive their new friend. Lin Fan lets the soldiers down and collapses again. The system shows the exhaustion has caused our protagonist to enter the hibernation stage. The hibernation automatically protects him from guns and knives pointed at him and will be maintained until the hibernation ends. Seeing his friend collapse once again, Zhang calls him a pig for sleeping so much. He tells Xiaobao about the time Lin Fan slept for 3 days straight and asks him to take them home. Meanwhile, Xiaobao gets debriefed about the level 7 cursed beast at Huatian Sanjia Hospital, and the witnesses say 2 masters in the picture eliminated it. Seeing the weird doodle makes Xiaobao think the beast has made them go insane. Seeing the mental patients, the driver asks if they have kidnapped him before. Xiaobao tells his people that his friends are just idiots and an investigation is not needed. On the other hand, the actual kidnapper starts beating his partner for not protecting him. Meanwhile, at the specialty department's monitoring center, the level 8 squad wonders why they still haven't received any information about the heroes even after 12 hours. Huofeng wonders if he's the abnormal one for thinking that the doodles made it impossible to identify any human. But right then, the leader of the strategy department barges in angrily, stomping her feet. She fires up in anger, asking the squad how they could post such a weird drawing without her permission, and tells them the people are gossiping about them now. Liu Jian thinks that the people must be appreciating his artistic painting, but his bubble bursts when he realizes people are calling them crazy. Huofeng finally feels relieved to know that he was right. The leader starts lecturing the squad for their poor judgment. She tells them that the next 3-month holiday of the Tiangong will be cancelled, and they now have to lead the newcomer who will come to practice at the mental hospital. The whole squad feels that leading the newcomer is below their power levels. The leader yells at them that they lack general knowledge and have to lead the newcomer without a word. Lujan feels bad for letting their seniors down with his portrait, and that they even supported him for it. Huofeng feels good thinking the squad encouraged the junior to boost his confidence. But to his surprise, his team actually found the portrait realistic and were impressed by it. Cyclops steps in, confronting his team for the screw-up. He lectures them for their lack of common sense in posting the portrait. Huofeng once again feels good to know that it's his teammates who lack common sense. But then again, Cyclops also recognizes the portrait, and Huofeng again questions his sanity. Meanwhile, Ran calls his brother to check up on him after the incident at the hospital. Vice President Lee tells him about the damages and the people who died. He then asks about our insane protagonist and his friend, and asks Ran if he knows anything about where to find them. He worries that the level 7 cursed beast might have eaten the mental patients. He consoles his big brother for being upset. However, both feel relieved that the annoying mental patients are now gone. President Ran starts thinking about how good it feels to finally get rid of the mental patients who made his life hell. But then, the staff informs him that a kid has brought some mental patients in, and Ran realizes that he celebrated too quickly. Ran calls Vice President Lee again and apologizes about the membership card request. Lee tells him that he didn't mind his request. He then tells Ran that without his 2 problematic patients, the membership card won't give him any gain. However, Ran assures him he doesn't care about any gain and only wants to see him. He further adds that he feels bad for troubling Lee, so this is his way of compensating him. Vice President Lee starts feeling adored but clarifies that he's not into men. He then tells Ran that he'll deliver his message to the president and he might help with the card. After the call ends, Ran turns to Xiaobai and thanks him for bringing his patients back to the hospital. Xiaobai informs the president that he had his doctors do a checkup on the patients and hands him over a report. Ran reads the reports and finds nothing abnormal except for the fact that Lin Fan's cell count is way higher than any normal person's, and Zhang's bones are too different from young people's. Xiaobai adds that his doctors estimate Zhang's age at 100 years old because of his bones. However, not even President Ran knows about his real age. He feels that something is wrong with Zhang because he had been in the hospital even before he was president. However, Zhang still looks young because of his psyche, whereas Ran's face has already turned wrinkly at 50. Xiaobai leaves after the meeting, making the president wonder why the kid doesn't believe him. Meanwhile, a cursed black bird informs his leader that the parasitic fly could reach its ancient form, but it was immediately killed by a human fighter. He further adds that he can sense the fly's level 7 energy, but not the human, and in order to get to the ancient form, the fly's eggs in the human's body will be eliminated. The level 9 cursed Waterlord calls the fly a loser for always ruining his business. The other cursed beasts are shocked to see the Waterlord speak human language after one expedition into the human world. The level 9 Icy Widow asks the bird if he knows about the number of fighters in Yanhei City. The bird tells them that they are often up against 3 level 8 fighters, but he has also heard about a level 9 team whose boss is a national fighter. Icy Widow believes that a level 8 human fighter can easily be compared to a level 7 cursed beast. However, she doesn't know the power of a level 9 and a national one. The king tells Icy Widow to send out a level 8 cursed beast to check the power of the level 9 squad. Icy Widow announces the mission. To obey the king's command, a level 8 King Kong steps out, beating his chest in aggression. The crow further reports that he could sense the presence of the tribe's cursed beasts on 2 human fighters, and the presence of the octopus, mystic serpent, and zombie dog have all disappeared. Icy Widow starts wondering how the tribe's presence could be on the human body, unless the tribe disguises itself. She refuses to accept that the cursed beast who hunted humans could get hunted by them. She tells the bird to take a level 4 and a level 5 beast to check on the 2 humans. Meanwhile, Zhang sits beside his friend, worrying about his well-being as he sleeps for 3 days again. The president walks into the room and shows his concern about Lin Fan's health. The workers start to quickly fix everything in the room. Ran asks Zhang to take care of our protagonist and leaves the room after thanking him. With the special squad coming for training, he hopes that nothing will go wrong. At night, Cyclops informs the president that the newbie special squad will be coming here to train tomorrow. The president rejects the request at first because he thinks the risk is too high. However, with a check on his face, he instantly agrees to cooperate. He sings praises of the 2 psycho patients' strength and hands over a contract to Cyclops for a buy one get one free for our protagonist and his friend. But a mental patient has never been a part of the special squad. So, worrying that Muo Li might reject the idea, Cyclops tells Ran that he needs to think first. The next morning, the president welcomes the Tian King team and the newbies for training. The newbies feel lucky for being led by the Tian King team, but they wonder why the team respects the hospital president so much. As the president leads the way, the newbies wonder what the training is. However, thinking that it involves ordinary psychos, they take it too lightly. The president explains that teams of 2 will be made to take care of the patients for 1 month. Whoever hurts them or is injured by them will fail and will have to take the entrance test again. At first the trainees are shocked, but then they start celebrating. thinking that taking care of ordinary psycho-humans will be easy, but only the president knows the trouble that is about to come. Meanwhile, Lin Fan, after absorbing the world's energy during his sleep, starts to wake up. Jang jumps at our protagonist, furious at him for sleeping for so many days. He tells his friend that Xiaoba took them home, and the president was worried about him, so they should find him. So, our hero and his friend break through the heavily barricaded door, jumping cheerfully to meet the president. All the newbies line up to receive their patients. The president tells the patient that his father is now going to take care of him for the month. The newbie is shocked and disgusted to receive an old man as a son. The old man hugs the kid, crying in relief that his father has returned. The president hands over the information to the newbie and sends him off. Next up, he hands over the enthusiastic watch seller, Mr. Buo, to the newbie. Buo gets excited, having finally received a customer. Then, the president sends Professor Ting Kuo to the newbie and tells him that the kid wants to learn from him for a month. The professor asks the newbie about a bunch of topics, and seeing him speechless, he starts scolding the kid for not knowing the basics. The professor starts walking away, refusing to teach him, so Hei Ran tells the newbie to beg the professor. Seeing a line before the president, our protagonist thinks that they also need to get in line to meet him. The president unknowingly starts to introduce Zhang, but he nearly gets a heart attack realizing who he's handing over to the newbies. Xiaolu introduces herself to Zhang and tells him she'll take care of him for a month, but the president steps in to tell her she can't take care of this patient. He offers to assign her a new patient, but the girl insists that she can take care of him. Meanwhile, Liu Jin introduces himself to our protagonist as his caretaker. They both shake hands, but the president steps in to break them off. He tells the newbies that these two patients are fighters with inborn talent and they can't handle them. However, Liu Jin insists that he wants to learn from the powerful fighters because they're rare. He thinks about how the teachers failed to see his talent, but now he can shine. Liu Jin activates his level 3 armor, and thinking that it's unbreakable, he asks our hero to hit him. The newbies get eager to see the armor in action. Lin Fan confirms from Zhang that the bald head is actually asking him to hit him. He steps forward, folding his fist. Liu Jin encourages our protagonist to use his talent. However, he soon learns his lesson when a bear punch breaks his shield and throws him into the air. Duo Te and Xiao Xiao form a barrier around the hospital, while Huo Feng and Luo Wang take care of the corner barriers. After finishing the barriers, Xiao Xiao tells Duo Te that she feels sad that their vacations were cancelled. To lift her mood up, he hands her an egg that she likes along with a drawing on it. Xiao Xiao notices the drawing and starts blushing. After setting up the corner barriers, the squad can detect the energy wave of the people inside, and if the newbies injure anyone, the barrier can prevent it. With the barrier, the squad doesn't need to worry about the patient's safety. Right then, they see Liu Jin flying in from the sky and crashing before them. Xiao Xiao gets shocked and nearly chokes on the egg. Duo Te carries her upside down, and she throws the egg out. Luo Wang and Huo Feng run in anger, thinking that their teammate is hurting Xiao Xiao. They finally take a breath after learning the whole story. Meanwhile, Liu Jin reaches out to them, barely able to move a finger. He tells them that a patient with a gifted talent hit him. Realizing why the barrier didn't detect the energy, Duo Te feels that the patient must possess great strength for hurting a level 3 fighter without generating any energy. Meanwhile, all the newbies in the hospital are shocked with our protagonist's strength. The president tells Lin Fan that it was wrong to hit Liu Jian. Lin Fan and Zhang try to argue that the man asked them to hit him, but the president tells them that they still shouldn't do it, and even if they did, they should hold back a little. All the newbies get scared seeing the patient's strength, and tell the president that they give up on training because they're too weak. As the Tian King squad walks in, Huo Feng instantly recognizes the patients who killed the level 7 beast. Seeing his teammates not recognize them, he once again thinks he's not normal. But then, the teammates recognize the masters, and Huo Feng takes a sigh of relief. The Tian King squad gets excited after finally finding the heroes who saved the hospital from the level 7 squad. However, they all wonder why the masters are in patient uniforms. The squad thinks the great heroes are hiding their identity to practice in the hospital. Luo Wang remembers the boss telling them to respect the president, and he thinks it's because the masters asked the president to build the hospital so they could practice here. The Tian King team falls in love with the powerful heroes and considers nominating them for a special squad. Liu Jin realizes that he ruined his own reputation and someone else will be nominated. The president takes this opportunity to get rid of his insane patients and tells the squad that Lin Fan and Zhang are fighters pretending to be patients. He encourages their idea that they should be members of the squad, making the squad even happier. Lin Fan and Zhang both realize the president wants to send them someplace else, but they want to stay at home because the president might worry about them. Although the president would be relieved, he lies and tells his patients that he doesn't want to be in the way of their growth. The president tells them that he doesn't want them to go, but he assures them that the squad is the best place for them. Our patients get emotional and hug the president, touching the Tian King team's hearts even more. However, Liu Jin fails the test after getting injured. On the other hand, Xiaolu walks in and asks Zhang if she can come with him to take care of him. She's completely in awe of the patient's strength and the team's admiration for him. Jang, appreciating her goodness, offers her acupuncture, and unfortunately for her, she agrees. Xiaolu goes through the acupuncture thinking that it will help her enhance her powers and reach a higher level. However, she doesn't know that she'll end up in a 100-year coma. Xiaolu becomes the story's sleeping beauty, and her body gets stored in one of the 9 greatest museums in the world, the Dragon Kingdom's museum. The whole squad tries to wake her up, but seeing her sleeping, they declare that she fails the test too. The Tian King squad tells Jang and Lin Fan that they'll talk to their boss about having them join the team. Meanwhile, the cursed crow sits on a distant tree, finally spotting the ordinary people with the cursed tribe's energy in them. But he lets the level 4 bear take care of the investigation. The cursed crow now realizes that he didn't notice the level 8 fighters when spying on our patients. With its presence concealing skill, the crow feels safe hiding his presence, and decides that he needs to lure out the fighters. Meanwhile, the mental patients keep bothering the ants again, and the Tian King squad thinks they're practicing by observing nature. The president, after assigning tasks to everyone, feels that nothing bad will happen because he has level 8 fighters around. However, he doesn't know what he'll do if something goes wrong. Our protagonist and his friend then enjoy their drinks like always, and the fighter squad once again finds it impressive, thinking that calling soya milk Coca and Sprite is their training to change the reality. Later, Zhang performs his acupuncture on his friend again, but like all the other times, Lin Fan falls asleep again. The squad whispers about the masters helping each other sleep. Zhang turns to the Tian King squad and offers them acupuncture, assuring them that he can help them break through with his years-long practice. Huo Feng thinks his teammates would refuse the harsh treatment, but to his surprise, they happily accept being a test subject. As Zhang starts performing his technique, funeral music starts playing in Huo Feng's mind. Like all the other victims of Zhang's acupuncture, 3 members of the Tian King squad also pass out. He then turns to Huo Feng and asks him to try, assuring him that it'll work out this time. However, no one notices the Reaper lurking around. Huo Feng, being a loyal and dedicated teammate, decides to die with his teammates and agrees to the technique. Soon enough, the whole Tian King squad passes out. The cursed crow finds the energy of the level 8 fighters disappeared and orders the level 4 giant bear and level 5 berserk tiger to take the chance to investigate our patients. The system notifies that Lin Fan has finished his level 5 self-training and can acquire level 5 skills, invincible windy form and noble movement, and a bonus of 100% growth rate. The system also detects the presence of a beast that could end our protagonist's hunger for 5 days. Suddenly, the other mental patients see the tiger and the bear and call them Teddy and female tiger. The cursed beast takes offense at being misgendered and roars at the patients. Meanwhile, the crow hides his presence from people under level 5. However, Zhang is no low-level human and sees through the ugly bird. The crow gets offended for being called ugly and orders the tiger and the bear to attack our protagonist and his friend. The cursed beasts run towards the psycho fighters. Our protagonist's system uses 20% of his energy to find food. The tiger leaps towards Zhang, and right before it could even touch him, our hero steps in and throws the tiger into the air with a punch. He then arm wrestles the bear and asks his friend if he finds it cute. The bear, a cursed animal before, turns adorable after being called cute. The bear starts giggling after being called cute by Lin Fan, but his heart shatters when Zhang says he's aggressive and ugly. Hurt by Zhang's words, the bear starts crying. Our protagonist grabs the bear's hands to show his friend that they're cute. The bear tries to hold its tears back, and seeing Zhang call him cute, he gets cheerful again. The cursed bear is taken into a flashback where he asks his boss for permission to go to a human's place to be a spy. The boss tells him that the humans find small bears cute and are scared by large bears, so he thinks the bear would be in danger. The cursed beasts think that no person would find the bear attractive. However, when the little bear was soaking in the rain, a little kid found him adorable and took him home. Worried that the parents will send the bear to the zoo, the kid hides him in his room. However, the bear sneaked out and killed Ming Ming's parents. So, the boy angrily started hunting the bear down. The cursed bear feels relieved to know that some humans still find him cute, but he soon realizes that those humans tore his hands apart. The other psycho sees the bear claws in our protagonist's hand and takes them away to cook a nice meal. The bear, angered by the betrayal, starts attacking again. Lin Fan lands a gut punch and sends the bear into the air. The cursed bear starts crying, heartbroken by the betrayal. The crow decides to take the cursed beasts home, but seeing our protagonist and his friend play with the tiger, he knows that it won't make it home. The tiger starts playing dead to save his life, but seeing the psycho chef talk about taking his stick off and cooking it, his soul starts screaming. However, our protagonist and his friend find the whole tiger cute and decide to take it to the kitchen. They drag the tiger into the hospital. The chef takes a mystic blade from 9 heavens and chops the tiger's stick off. The tiger screams in pain, but his agony soon ends as he meets his dead brothers. While the dead cursed beasts console the dead tiger, our psycho chef presents the bear claws and tiger meat to his fellows. The hospital staff complain to President He Ran about how the psychos make their lives difficult and ask for a raise. The president enters the dining hall and is surprised to see all the patients play around with food. Our hero, after finally consuming cursed beasts, gains energy and acquires a level 5 body, increasing his vitality, strength, and speed by 55 points. However, all the other patients have started acting weird after eating the tiger meat. The president gets furious in anger, and the psycho chef starts blaming everything on Lin Fan and Zhang. The president yells at the chef for steaming the ingredients and cooking the food. But then, he calms down and tells the patient that they can talk about him working in the kitchen later. However, the patient refuses to cook without the luxurious ingredients. The president gets angry again and tells him that the ingredients he used were illegal, but he calms himself down again and decides that paying his chefs more is better. He Ran calls the Huadian hospital for the patients and feels relieved to finally have a membership. He then turns to Lin Fang and Zhang and tells them to not let anyone else eat the animals they kill. Meanwhile, the Tian King squad finally wakes up from their sleep. They feel their backs aching less, their skin smoother, and their energy increased. However, Huofeng notices an even bigger change, and it's that the whole squad has now reached level 9. Seeing their level increased, the squad now wonders if Zhang was a master or a god. Luo Wang tries out his field barrier, amazing the whole squad with his new strength. He decides to thank the masters, but then a drone flies in urgently calling the team back to the base. The drone informs them that a level 4 squad will take the watch. Back at the base, the leader debriefs everyone on the 2 level 8 cursed beasts detected. The Tian King realizes that the beasts' appearances have been getting more frequent. The leader draws up a map to showcase the location of the level 8 beast and its final spot in the protective forest of Yanhei City. Cyclops thinks that the cursed beast's headquarters must be in that forest. However, the leader thinks it could be a trap as well, seeing how the energy wave was very brief. That risk of a trap is why a low-level team can't be assigned. However, the leader gets shocked when the squad reveals that they have now reached level 9 with their master's help. She can't run the checks urgently and asks Cyclops if it's true. With Cyclops confirming the squad's power level, the leader feels relieved that her fighters can escape safely. The squad assures their boss and the strategy leader that they can return safely and show their interest in nominating 2 masters. However, Cyclops worries that their level 9 powerhouse can only keep them safe if they don't encounter a level 9 beast. But the location they're going to is the enemy's base. Cyclops quickly shakes his worries off, thinking that it's definitely a trap and his team can handle level 8 beasts. But suddenly, he realizes his squad mentioned the masters from the hospital and starts trembling, realizing they wish to nominate the psychos who tortured him. Later, the Tian King squad roams through the forest looking for the cursed beasts. However, their monitor doesn't show any energy waves. Right then, Huofeng stumbles into a soft wall. He suddenly realizes that it's the water veil, an inborn skill of a water-based cursed beast that can hide energy waves. Suddenly, the monitor starts detecting too many cursed beasts and warns the team that they can't handle the situation. The Tian King squad realizes that they've been led right into the enemy's base. They begin to flee, and an ice attack breaks through their tablet. The headquarters is confused, seeing the squad's device disappear all of a sudden. Meanwhile, our fighters face the level 9 Ice Fox. Seeing the ice-based cursed beast, the squad is already aware that they don't stand a chance. But on top of that, the water veil indicates that there are other beasts around. The Ice Fox tells the squad they can't escape and throws sharp ice knives at them. Huofeng uses his golden protection shield to protect his squad. Xiao Xiao uses her healing pill to heal her teammate while he takes the attacks on his shield. A level 5 Ironpeck woodpecker flies in to attack the shield, nearly breaking it apart. Luo Wang uses his fatal thunderspell tag and kills the woodpecker instantly. However, it doesn't end here, and soon a flock of woodpeckers and the ice spikes attack the shield all at once. The whole squad use their abilities to their fullest but fail to hold their ground. Huofeng starts coughing blood, the shield breaks down, and the woodpeckers break in. The bird nearly hits Huofeng in the head, but right then, a sword flies by, splitting the bird in half. The sword flies towards the ice fox but nearly misses her. The cursed ice fox recognizes the level 9 powerhouse as Duo Te fights for his team with his full might. Luo Wang begins his Grant protective formation, the shocking thunder, but the ice fox steps in and attacks him with her ice spikes. Xiao Xiao falls from the ice fox's attack. She uses her level 2 recovery pills to heal herself. With his protective formation failing to hold up, Luo Wang tells Duo Te to take Huofeng and leave. He opens the portal and tells them to get in. Xiao Xiao gives them her level 4 celestial pills and guardian pills. Huo Wang tries to stop her from giving him her lifeline and tells them to get in, but Luo Wang is the one holding the formation, which means he can't leave, and Xiao Xiao can't stand at all. He tells his teammates to inform the headquarters about what happened, and hopes that they can be comrades in the next life too. Duo Te and Huo Wang leave the formation, and the cursed beasts rush in. They all start attacking the barrier to break it down. Duotae finally confesses to Xiao Xiao that he likes her and thanks her for supporting him. Xiao Xiao tells him that she supported him for his honesty and his adorableness. The cursed beasts nearly break the formation. Duotae refuses to let them touch his partner and asks her if she wishes to die with him. With her permission, he starts charging up his energy. A huge blast goes off, killing almost every cursed beast around. However, the ice fox escapes and wonders how these humans could be so selfless and sacrifice themselves. Meanwhile, Duotae and Luo Wang escape through the forest and hurry to report the incident to the headquarters. Right then, someone nearly kicks Duotae in the head, but Luo Wang steps in and takes the hit instead. They both fall down and see the national-level cursed beast, the demon cockroach, standing before them. The demon cockroach lifts his foot up again to kick Duotae back down. Luo Wang, with his sacred monk's golden body, steps in and pushes the cursed beast back. He tells Duotae to run, but Duotae knows that this beast will never let them run. Knowing that there's another way, he begins using the one power he couldn't before reaching level 9. Luo Wang instantly understands what his friend is going to do, and he knows that Duotae will have to sacrifice himself. He starts punching the demon cockroach in anger with all his might, but the cursed beast doesn't even flinch. The beast kicks Luo Wang in the stomach and throws him away. Duotae continues to focus on his spell without being distracted. Suddenly, Duotae is taken into a flashback where he stands before a grave. His nephew starts crying, worrying that his grandpa will not return from a mission just like his mom and dad. The kid understands that his grandpa needs to save people, but all he asks him is that Duotae think about him before sacrificing himself and say goodbye before leaving. The boy starts crying and tells his grandpa to at least tell him what to do before leaving so that he can live without fear. Duotae shows the kid the prophecy book he was searching for, and tells him that if he disappears like his parents, it'll be because of that. The wind starts circulating around Duotae as he starts his spell. The demon cockroach runs to interrupt the spell, but Luo Wang steps in to protect his friend again. As the beast grabs his throat, Luo Wang tells his friend that he'll be his protector in the afterlife too. The demon cockroach smashes his head with his bare hands and throws him down. Meanwhile, Duotae's skill grows powerful. The winds start to get strong, and the blood circles around him. The cursed beast is left surprised as the blood splatters and cuts through him. At the end of the spell, the Book of Prophecy, only Duotae's skeleton remains standing. The wind becomes his pen, earth his paper, and blood his ink, all to fulfill the Book of Prophecy. As the demon cockroach stands before Duotae's skeleton, the ice fox flies in to ask if their plan to attack the citadel is going to be sooner. Meanwhile, Cyclops sees the special talent recruitment contracts and wonders how he can get Healy to seal the contract, because without her, it won't be valid. He feels exhausted thinking that he can't even do that after being an expert at the special department. Suddenly, the strategy leader barges in through the door in a hurry and informs Cyclops that something has gone wrong with the Tian King team. The leader insists on sending in an investigation team, but Cyclops tells her that he has to be the one to go, because no other team can survive it if the Tian King squad couldn't. As Cyclops reaches the scene, he's horrified by the sight of the bodies. Seeing Luo Wang's crushed head makes him cry. He then pays a tribute to Duotae's standing skeleton, and suddenly recognizes the traces of the inner core with 3 moves. All of a sudden, a huge shield covers the ground, giving Cyclops all the information about the cursed beast's headquarters, the water wall, and the power level of all the beasts. The final shield spreads through the skies, reaching out to everywhere, displaying a map. The junior fighters get impressed seeing the power level of the map, while Lin Fan and Zhang wonder what it is. The message reaches Duotae's grandson to fulfill the promise he made to him. The message tells Hui Jinsheng how proud his grandfather is of him, and hopes that he succeeds in whatever he chooses to do with his future. Seeing the final message of his grandpa, Jinsheng gets emotional and starts crying. Meanwhile, the cursed crow flies away, taking the bear with him. However, the crow now gets tired and thinks about running away. But then, the King Kong grabs the crow to ask for information. At first, the cursed crow pretends to not remember anything, but just a little squeeze sharpens his memory. The bird reveals to the monkey that he told his boss that the chimpanzee wanted to live with humanity. However, the crow didn't share that sentiment and believed humanity is their food. So he told the boss everything, and the boss smashed the chimpanzee's head. The crow says that maybe King Kong is also the same and calls him crazy. So the monkey tears him apart in anger. King Kong is suddenly taken into nostalgia of when he was a little kid and the chimpanzee raised him with love. Meanwhile, at the mental hospital, Zhang feels sad for losing his watch and not remembering where it went. Our protagonist helps his friend look for his watch, and after a while of not finding it, they decide to search for it in the yard. The 2 friends search the yard but still can't find the watch, so they decide to head outside. They start searching for the watch outside and don't find it, but they still continue looking for it. Suddenly, a bike reaches towards them, and Zhang thinks it's a devil. But as the bike goes past them, they see that it's a chimpanzee. The system alerts our protagonist that he can end his hunger for a month with this beast. So, Lin Fan asks his friend if he finds the chimpanzee cute. Zhang is surprised to see a gorilla ride a bike and asks his friend if he really finds it cute. The gorilla starts blushing at being called cute and thinks his mama was right about humans. Lin Fan tells his friend he finds the chimpanzee cute and asks if they should capture it. However, seeing the gorilla give them a flying kiss makes them cringe and sick, and the psychos no longer find it cute. Suddenly, a level 5 giant mantis confronts King Kong and tells him that the boss wants him to come back. King Kong, without saying a word, smashes the mantis's head with a punch. More and more mantises start coming out of the water veil, calling the gorilla a traitor. However, the gorilla thinks they're the ones revealing their base location. Soon the street gets filled with giant mantises, and the system informs Lin Fan that he can ease his hunger with 12 beasts. The level 8 cursed beast plucks his hair off and activates his acceleration ability and starts leaping around, smashing through the mantises. Meanwhile, the system shows our protagonist a cooking method for the mantis, but right before he could share an opinion with his friend, the gorilla smashes its head. Meanwhile, Cyclops informs the leader about the 2 level 9 cursed beasts and the armor-breaking creatures his team found. He adds that his team had the last destination as the cursed creatures' headquarters, but because of the support of level 9 beasts, they can't control their energy value. The Tian King team gave their lives for this information. However, with the high-level cursed creature's IQ, the fighters have no chance against it. The leader realizes that the highest-level cursed beast has been in Yanhai City countless times and commanded many cursed beasts, and now it wishes to lead its creatures to fight Yanhai City. On the other hand, Zhang recognizes the house of the woman who treated them to delicious food and tells his friend he wants to visit her. Lin Fan suggests grabbing a gift for her, so they both head inside a shop. Inside the shop, the shopkeeper recognizes their psychiatric uniforms. Our psychos ask the woman if they can buy the box of milk without any money. The woman thinks about not giving the psychos anything, but out of fear, she agrees. So, they both leave the shop with milk and a promise that they'll return the money. The psychos realize that the woman must be sleeping and decide to leave the box of milk outside her apartment and leave to search for the watch. The next morning, the woman is surprised to see a box of milk at her doorway. Her neighbor hears that the woman has no idea who put it there and decides to take it from her. He pretends to own the box of milk and gets frustrated when the woman confirms if it's really his. He starts to defend himself and threatens to tell her daughter's school what her mother does. As the man walks back into his home, his son wonders why he bought so much milk. The man tells his son that he scammed it off a woman. Suddenly, his head starts hurting and he falls on the ground. Meanwhile, Vice President Lee gets into a heated argument with He Ran for sending him so many patients just to make use of his membership card. Right then, the nurse walks in to inform him that the 2 patients have returned. At first, Lee gets confused, not knowing who she's talking about. A moment later, he remembers that she's talking about the psychos that he thought were devoured by the level 7 creatures. Our protagonist and his friends surprise the vice president with their sudden entry and tell him that they miss him. It is only now that President He Ran tells Lee that the patients have survived and he'll send someone to receive them. Vice President Lee starts crying as he realizes that He Ran tricked him into making a card and starts cursing him for cheating. Vice President Lee escorts the 2 mental patients out and tells them to never come back again because he has too much stuff to do. While leaving, the noisy crowd grabs Lin Fan and Zhang's attention. They recognize the kind woman's voice who cooked them dinner. Surrounded by the crowd, the scammer's wife grabs the woman by her hair, blaming her for her husband's stroke. She tries to slap the woman, but our protagonist steps in and grabs her hand. He tells the scammer's wife that hitting people is bad. The evil woman notices their psychiatry uniforms and screams at Lin Fan to let go. All the people in the crowd get furious at the kind woman for using psychos to help her. The kind woman requests Lin Fan to let her go, but Lin Fan wants to teach her a lesson. The wife starts imagining all the tortures our psychos could put her through and cries out that it was her husband's fault, and he even stole her milk. The woman is surprised to hear the truth. Zhang tells her that they got her the milk as a thank you for the food. Suddenly, Vice President Lee jumps in and drags the patients out to avoid calling them on the speaker. Right at that moment, Xiaobao walks into the hospital to negotiate the sponsorship for a level A project. Lee drops everything and rushes to greet his sponsor. Xiaobao notices his new friends, and seeing them call Lee a friend, he tells his assistant to straight up jump to making the sponsorship of 3 level A. He then leads his friends to take a shower and rest while Lee signs the contract. On his way out, Xiaobao notices the special squad patrolling. His assistant further adds that protective formations, including the detecting ones, are also placed around the hospital, making Xiaobao realize that something bad is about to happen. Meanwhile, a level 3 cursed rooster wonders why the special squad is being so cautious despite his camouflage. As the squad nearly passes by the rooster, searching every corner for it, the rooster feels sad that he has to hide all because he isn't cute and wishes that he could become a human's pet so that he could kill them one by one to become the greatest cursed beast. The psychos enjoy their rich friend's swimming pool and luxurious home. Xiaobao takes them to his smallest room to stay for the night until He Ran comes to pick them up. Zhang excitedly jumps into the room. Xiaobai tells them that no one would sleep with him, so he wants to join them. He explains that he never had any friends growing up, and his parents are always busy with business. Our psychos get emotional and decide to sleep with their new friend. However, after sleeping with Zhang and Lin Fan, the rich kid realizes that sleeping alone was probably for the good. Meanwhile, outside the manor, Xiaobao's kidnappers prepare to kidnap him in his house through the sewers. Hu assures his partner that he knows the whole drainage system of the manor and he will succeed this time. Lin Fan suddenly wakes up and asks his friend if he wants to welcome his guests, then leads Xiaobao to a sewer. Hu takes the lid off, and as he comes out, he sees a bunch of guards standing above him. The kidnappers pretend to be drainage workers currently on the job. Xiaobao tells his guards to let them work, but Lin Fan reminds him that they bullied him. The kidnappers still try to make a fool out of Xiaobao and tell him that they're actually working now. So, they actually end up working in the sewers while the guards watch them. Xiaobao sits in his lawn observing his kidnappers clean the sewers. His assistant suggests heading inside, but he insists on staying out. Suddenly, the system tells Lin Fan that it detects an energy source capable of easing his hunger for 4 days, but it's 5,000 meters away. So, Lin Fan tells his friend that he's going out and asks him to take care of Zhang. The fighter squad continues looking for the cursed beast. They know that the beast must be looking for humans to eat to level up. A girl runs home late, scared that her mom will be worried for her. The cursed rooster sees the girl and decides to make her a target to reach level 4. The rooster chases the girl, and with his level 5 flash skill, he instantly reaches for her. Right before the rooster could attack the girl, our protagonist grabs it. The rooster struggles in our protagonist's hand. Lin Fan asks the girl if she thinks the rooster is cute, and she agrees. Having finally caught prey, Lin Fan's system shows him the cooking method for the cursed beast. After the kidnappers clean the drainage system, the guards pay them for their hard work. Hu gets emotional receiving his first ever clean money. He remembers the monk telling him to find his path. Hu gets teary-eyed, and his partner feels happy that they can now earn clean. Meanwhile, Lin Fan brings his friend a rooster and asks him if he finds it cute. The rooster tries to run away but then realizes that its captive called it cute. The rooster, thinking that its cuteness will save it, tries to win its captives over by acting cute. The rooster thinks it's safe now, but to its shock, Zhang wants to roast it. Lin Fan can roast a chicken, but when he takes another look at it, the rooster starts making ugly faces. The rooster sighs in relief, realizing it won't be killed anymore. But the cursed beast underestimates the psychos. Our protagonist and his friend want to raise the rooster for its eggs. The rooster, unable to lay eggs, feels humiliated as Zhang and Lin Fan wait for it to lay eggs. Although a rooster can't lay eggs, the cursed beast had learned to survive by all means, and to save its life, it lays an egg. While Xiaobao cooks the egg, the rooster cries for its baby, seeing it get fried. However, our protagonist successfully devours a level 2 energy source and increases his stats by 10 points. Zhang cheers in happiness, loving the taste of the eggs, and tells his friend that he wants 2 eggs daily. The rooster grows angry hearing about our psycho's expectations of him. After all, he's not a hen. Meanwhile, the strategy leader explains to the fighters that the hospitals and schools at Yanhai have prepared a level 6 defense layout and strengthened the energy to test cursed creatures' energy, and orders them to prepare combat defense in the residential area. Cyclops asks the leaders of other squads about their progress on the defensive level 9 battle. The fighter explains that they are at the last step, but it uses so much energy that they need large amounts of new internal resources to unlock it. However, even after everything, they can only stand for 15 minutes. The fighters tell the leader that they need the help of headquarters and other cities. The strategy leader believes that they need at least 2 people of the highest level to kill the cursed beast. Otherwise, fighting it will only bring destruction to the Yanhai city. However, the neighboring cities have refused help because the highest level people can't leave without a reason, and Yanhai city has no proof of evidence of the highest level cursed creatures. The leader assures them that she'll call the headquarters for help, while Cyclops leaves to take care of something. Meanwhile, Xiaobao's assistant informs him that Lin Fan's rooster is a cursed level 3, but it was afraid of him. But Xiaobao shows no interest in it, and assures his assistant that his friend can handle it. President He Ran finally returns to pick his patients up and confronts them for buying milk at the grocery store. He tells them that he paid the store and forbids them from buying things from the outside because they don't have money. Although Lin Fan's mother gave the hospital some money, Zhang has been living freely. Our protagonist, being a nice friend, offers to share his money. However, the president informs him that he used all of it in his emergency room visits and doesn't have much left anymore. The rooster is surprised to see someone so strong be controlled by someone. The president notices the rooster and is surprised when Lin Fan tells him it can lay eggs. At the hospital, Cyclops waits for patients and notices the energy wave of a level 3 cursed creature. He notices the rooster in Lin Fan's hand and jumps to attack it, but Lin Fan grabs his hand and stops him. Cyclops is surprised to see our protagonist block his magic power. He wonders how he could easily block such power and decides to test him. Cyclops attacks Lin Fan again, and the system notifies our protagonist that he has to avoid the power in 15 minutes. Otherwise, he'd lose his power. The dragon flame chases Lin Fan as he runs around, trying to protect his rooster. 3 hours later, Cyclops gets exhausted but still fails to check our MC's ability. Seeing so many high-level humans, the chicken gets scared thinking it's going to die soon. Cyclops assures Lin Fan that he's not going to hurt his rooster and tells him that he only wants to talk. Our protagonist takes his friend's advice, hands the rooster to him, and walks out to talk to Cyclops. Jang, now left alone with the rooster, decides to give it acupuncture. Meanwhile, Cyclops informs Lin Fan that the Tian King squad has died. He tells the patient that he can't figure out his power level, but he knows how powerful he is. Cyclops tells our protagonist about the incoming attack of the Cursed Beast's army and asks him to protect the city after his death. President He gets excited finally receiving the contract. Cyclops tells him that Hua Li won't agree to recruiting psychos, so Lin Fan and Jang work for him according to these contracts. They both can't be official members of the squad, but he assures that there will be rights and benefits for them. Cyclops assures the president that he will treat his patients right and appreciates their work. The president feels relieved and tells Cyclops to take good care of his patients and tells him to treat them as good children and not as patients. The patients say their goodbyes to the president and tell him that they'll now earn money. However, they don't know that their salary goes straight into the hospital account. When Zhang performed acupuncture on the rooster, Lin Fan came in at the right moment, saving the cursed beast's life. The rooster sighs in relief, but when he visits the headquarters of the special squad, he finds the place full of human powerhouses and realizes that his life is still in danger. Just like the chicken, the humans too detect the cursed beast, and they all shift their attention to the rooster. All the fighters at the headquarters gather around the cursed beast, but Cyclops sends them away and tells them he can take care of the beast. He then leads our psychos to the desk to get them registered. The receptionist shows concern for the special talents' uniforms, but Cyclops tells her they're cosplaying. After adding all the data, the girl hands over the applicant forms and asks Lin Fan if he wants her to send the cursed rooster away for research. Cyclops refuses and tells the girl to mark it as a pet for the recruits. The receptionist is shocked to see the new fighters pet a level 3 cursed beast. She wonders how strong they could be to control such a beast, and soon enough, the rooster and the new recruits become the topic of gossip in the group chat. Meanwhile, Cyclops takes his new talent to the lab to get their abilities checked, but to his surprise, Zhang scores at level 0. He now wonders how someone so ordinary could make him suffer like that, and the assistant wonders why his boss would hire an ordinary person. He then checks Lin Fan's stats and finds his level at 0 too. The chicken, however, ranks at level 3, like everyone thought. Cyclops can't understand why he can't figure out their ranks. The assistant grows curious why he brought ordinary people to get checked. Cyclops assures him they're not ordinary. They just have special powerhouses so their energy wave can't be decided. However, the assistant argues that the fighting sense is the only way to figure out the new recruit's current power, so he wonders what they do if they have no killing intent or will to fight. Cyclops knows that this method is only for normal people, and his recruits are far from it. So he asks his assistant to fill them in as level X with unstable fighting ability. As Cyclops leaves, the assistant still can't understand why his boss brought in ordinary people. Meanwhile, the rooster feels humiliated being collared in an enemy base. Cyclops tells our protagonist that this is their room, and all the powerhouses with special talents have one. He then tells them they have a job. Our patients act clueless, but Cyclops assures them that it's just easy patrolling and helping whoever is in need. Before Cyclops leaves, Zhang tells him that he has improved on his acupuncture and can heal his eyes. Cyclops gets scared, and Lin Fan tells him that Zhang has been studying about his sickness. Cyclops realizes that the psychos actually care about him, so he decides to give it a try. However, his mind changes once again when Zhang says he first needs to blind him. The whole GC continues to gossip about the new recruits. Some believe that the fighters aren't actually powerhouses and the boss brought them in because they're his nephews, but some believe in their boss's judgment. Meanwhile, Cyclops feels relieved after nearly escaping another acupuncture. Yinghua Sun knocks on the window and walks in on Cyclops. The boss orders the level 7 fighter to supervise the new recruits without being visible. However, in case they're in danger, he strictly orders Yinghua Sun to run away and asks him to write his wishes, confusing the fighter. On the other hand, our protagonist and his friend celebrate as the chicken lays eggs for them. The chicken feels dishonored and intends to kill them for its freedom. The psychos enjoy their delicious eggs with Coca-Cola and Sprite. Yinghua Sun sees the soy milk in their hands and gets confused seeing them call it Coke and Sprite. Suddenly, Lin Fan notices the fighter's presence and asks his friend if they should hit him, but Zhang tells him they should work hard after eating. Yinghua Sun starts sweating, fearing that he'll be detected. He can't understand how they can notice him with Xuan Gang hiding his presence. Meanwhile, our new recruits decide to head out on patrol. The group chat still continues to gossip about their capabilities, questioning their boss's judgment. Suddenly, Lu Jin swings his fist at Lin Yan. The fighters know a normal person can't stand his hits, but seeing Lin Fan not even flinch, They now accept that the new recruits could actually be powerful. Liu Jin cheers excitedly after confirming that the boss chose right. Finally, some fighters start to trust our new recruits. However, some remain doubtful. Our protagonist and his friend patrol the city, looking for people to help. They see a lost woman and offer to take her home. They accompany the woman while she leads the way. After an hour of walking, the woman's home is still nowhere in sight, and she gets too tired to walk. So Lin Fan offers to carry her home. The sun starts to set, and the woman keeps telling them her house is right ahead. She worries that Lin Fan will get tired of carrying her, but Zhang assures her that he'll carry her then. After so much walking, even the rooster grows tired. The sun sets and the moon comes up, and they finally reach the woman's house. As a thank you, the woman gives them flower rings for their hands that our recruits really love. After safely helping the old woman reach home, Lin Fan and Zhang walk back home with their pet rooster. Yinghua Sun knows now that the recruits are really powerful. The group chat still continues to gossip about the recruits' power level, doubting that they have any. Lin Fan carries his friend home after he gets tired of walking. The cursed rooster suddenly notices the energy wave of a cursed beast more powerful than it. The rooster sees this as his chance at freedom. It thinks that its captives will be killed or eaten and he'll be free. So, the rooster runs towards the cursed beast, and the system recognizes a source of energy that could ease our MC's hunger for a week. Meanwhile, the level 5 powerhouse team fights the cursed beast. However, they're no match against the level 5 cursed beast. The headquarters has informed all the nearby level 6 powerhouses, and the team only needs to buy time. They heal each other while waiting for help, and suddenly an electric blast throws them flying and buzzing. They land near a scared little kid. Another attack nearly strikes the kid, but the fighter steps in and takes the hit instead. With almost everyone down, only one fighter stands before a level 5 cursed electric eel king with an ability to electrocute people. As the rooster leads our protagonist to the cursed beast, it realizes that the beast is a level 5 eel with electrical abilities. Some time ago, even level 6 and 7 fighters feared the eel. So the rooster thinks these humans are dead. Lin Fan tells his friend that the fish in front of them is an eel. The cursed beast notices the presence of powerful humans, but then it notices the energy wave of another cursed beast with a leash. The eel belittles the rooster for giving in to humans, but the chicken tells him that it only wanted to save its life and wants to be a strong hero. The level 5 fighters see our 2 fighters and warn them against the eel if they are under level 6. Zhang finds the eel cute and tells his friend that he saw eel being made into rice. Our protagonist, sharing his friend's hunger, tells him to stay back while he goes to catch the eel. Lin Fan walks up to the eel. The fighter tries to stop him, warning him about the eel's electricity discharge. He grabs Lin Fan by his arm. Our protagonist reaches out for the eel, and just as he touches it, the eel releases its electricity. The eel electrocutes both fighters. However, the level 5 fighter fails to stand on his feet, and the current throws him away. The eel king is surprised to see the human take on such a strong current for so long. Lin Fan tells his friend about the electricity, but he adds that the current isn't strong enough. The eel gets offended with humans underestimating it, and prepares to release 10,000 volts. However, a moment later, the eel too finds itself in our protagonist's captivity, wondering how it's even possible. It begs the rooster to save it, but the rooster is already out of ideas. Yinghua Sun, shocked by our hero's ability to withstand such pressure, wonders how strong the new recruits are. Meanwhile, our protagonist and his friend drag the eel back to the headquarters, with Lin Fan's system giving him the best recipe to cook it. Our MC grabs a knife and gets ready to cut it while the eel begs the rooster to save its life. The smell of the delicious food spreads out throughout the headquarters, waking up some of the fighters. Our new recruits cheerfully enjoy their latest hunt as the flavors flood into their mouths. With so much eel still left, Lin Fan takes a slice and tries to feed it to the rooster to get more eggs. The rooster sees our psycho's innocence as evil for trying to feed its fellow beast. Cursed beasts are forbidden from eating each other, and if the rooster eats a large source of power, its body will explode. The rooster thinks that the humans are doing this to kill it and plans to avenge its fellows in its last moment. It takes the slice of eel meat as a heroic gesture. However, to the rooster's surprise, its fellow tastes delicious. The eel curses the rooster for eating in heaven. The rooster feels full after the meal and suddenly starts generating energy. As the energy continues to increase, the rooster feels its last moments and tries to go out for the last kill. However, just before the rooster could reach him, our protagonist slaps it away. The rooster is surprised to see all of its energy wasted away with a slap. It starts fainting near the explosion stage. Our psychos notice the rooster's condition and decide to save its life. After a brief moment, the rooster wakes up and finds 13 needles in its body. The rooster thinks it's dead. Lin Fan and Zhang cheer excitedly for saving the rooster. The cursed beast finds itself more refreshed and comfortable than before, and suddenly realizes that it has reached level 4 with a gifted shining electricity ability. Yinghua Sun is shocked to see the new recruit survive after eating a cursed beast and level up. The next morning he reports the whole incident to Cyclops and tells him about how Zhang treated the rooster. Cyclops thinks that his spy is trying to convince him to accept the acupuncture. However, the research department thinks that the human and beast energy can never work with each other, and this new information might cause controversies. So, Cyclops asks the fighter to keep the information about the new recruits a secret because they might have survived it because of their gifted talents. Yingwo-sun further reports on the eel incident that the damage was prevented thanks to the supporters and level 6 powerhouse, but everyone remembers what our protagonist did. Cyclops thinks it's no big deal, but his spy reminds him that his new recruits affect the other fighters' standings in personal and group achievements, so it's a big deal for them. Cyclops, not wanting to reveal his secret to Hua Li, tells his fighter that the injured's contribution also matters. As our heroes patrol the streets, the rooster still thinks about how the humans helped it level up and gain his fellow's skill. However, it refuses to show any gratitude for its captives. The rooster refuses to surrender and still plans on revenge once he finds a powerful cursed beast. Lin Fan makes a man angry by asking if he needs help. The man tries to slap our protagonist, but suddenly, the rooster drags him away, sensing a cursed beast more powerful than the eel. The system alerts our protagonist about an energy source that can ease his hunger for 7 weeks. The rooster drags them away, hoping that his fellow can kill the humans. Meanwhile, a boy trembles in fear as a cursed pig stands before him. The boy thought it was just an ordinary pig that he wanted to grill. The other boys surround the pig, trying to save their friend. The cursed beast smashes its leg into the boy's thigh. The cursed level 6 beast's special intimidation skill makes his cute appearance fearful, and the boys turn pale in fear. The pig nearly attacks the boys, but our protagonist arrives on time and throws the pig into the pond. The boys feel relieved seeing the special talent fighters and leave them with the beast to take their friend to a hospital. The system shows Lin Fan a great recipe to grill the cursed beast. The rooster asks his fellow for help in killing the humans, but to his surprise, the cursed beast ends up becoming their food. At dinner, Zhang tells his friend that he's a lot stronger now. Lin Fan explains that the voices in his head told him that the Qigong practice has broken through to the post-Earth stage. Zhang gets excited thinking that he can finally perform his cosmic transport technique. A moment later, Lin Fan falls unconscious, and Zhang realizes he needs to do more research. The rooster suddenly realizes that it doesn't need to be scared anymore because it has leveled up and has electricity powers. The cursed beast notices our protagonist's weak breath and thinks about taking this chance to kill Zhang. The beast gathers its energy and leaps towards the psycho, but just before it could stab, Zhang stuffs meat in its mouth. The rooster thinks about spitting the meat out before it explodes. However, the meat turns out to be too flavorful to waste. The rooster continues to eat, annoying its dead fellows even more. It wants to stop before it explodes, but the energy already flows through the beast's body. The rooster once again thinks about taking this chance to kill the human before exploding. However, a few needles later, it feels better again, and he begs Zhang to poke him more. The rooster starts dancing in relief after the comfort of our psycho's techniques. The grilled pig grabs Zhang's attention again, and he realizes it doesn't taste good without his friend. However, he still eats the whole meat because the president told him to not waste food. Zhang lies down beside his friend, appreciating the beauty of the night sky. Meanwhile, Yingwo-sun, still spying on the new recruits, is no longer surprised by their quirks. Yingwo-sun goes back to report to Cyclops. After a brief moment of silence, he tells him about how even the Mystic Pig King level 6 didn't stand a chance before Lin Fan. The fighter asks to know about the recruit's power level. However, not even Cyclops knows about their power. So he explains to the fighter that their power is unstable, so no one knows. Yingwo-sun is even more surprised about the psycho's power now. Cyclops tries to give him the points for solving the level 6 beast case, but the young fighter refuses. He confronts his boss for not giving the reward to those who earned it and thinks Cyclops is going to suspend the newbies. He threatens to tell the strategy leader. Cyclops, not wanting to expose himself to Hu Li, accepts to reward the new recruits. Yingwo-sun gets cheerful for his boss again and starts writing down all the points for our psycho and his friend in detail. He gives Lin Fan 6 points for killing a level 6 cursed beast. Cyclops then tells his spy that he can give himself some points since he was the observer. But Yingwo-sun remains honest and refuses to steal someone else's point. Cyclops starts worrying for his new recruits that there may not be enough cursed beasts for them to kill, and he worries about their names going on the powerhouse's record. Yingwo-sun asks about giving Lin Fan's team a name, and Cyclops suggests 666. Meanwhile, at the headquarters in the capital city, the record list updates, and the fighters notice our protagonist's team. The fighters see Lin Fan's position in the individual powerhouse, but they decide to follow for more information. Our new recruits enter the headquarters with their rooster now at level 5 and new powers of intimidation. The fighters around get scared of the rooster and start gossiping about it in the chat. They all gossip about the rooster's power level and run away in panic. The fighters now grow even more curious of the newbie's power and decide to test it themselves. Lin Fan tells his friend that his acupuncture helped him get a lot stronger. But then suddenly someone swings a punch at our protagonist. The fighter gets worried seeing him not dodge the attack and apologizes. Lin Fan asks his friend if he should hit back, but Zhang tells him he should let go because the fighter apologized. So both our recruits leave without causing a scene, leaving the fighter disappointed. The fighters think that the recruits aren't actually strong and the level 5 rooster has something wrong with its brain. However, 6 hours ago, Lin Fan had reached level 55, allowing him to modify his skills, Ultimate Resistance, and Spell Disturb. The cursed rooster sees another fellow cursed beast, and he explains his plan to slay the humans once the time comes. The rooster tells the beast that he will avenge the dead beasts with his will of a hero. He asks the level 6 cursed turtle for his help. The cursed turtle, thinking mighty of himself, uses his poisonous bullets to attack the humans. However, the turtle doesn't know our protagonist loves eating cursed beasts. As he grabs the turtle, his system shows that he can ease his hunger for 7 weeks and gives him a recipe to cook the beast. Shang gets excited for new food. The rooster tries to save his fellow beast, but soon enough the turtle turns into delicious food. Seeing the turtle cooked, even the rooster starts drooling. He promises his fellow beasts to avenge them, but seeing his mouth water, the fellow beasts no longer trust him. Zhang gives some food to the rooster to taste. The rooster, with his mouth still watering, hesitates to eat. The cursed rooster tries the food and starts hurting. It turns to Zhang, begging to be poked. Lin Fan sees the rooster suffering and asks his friend if they should castrate it. The rooster gets shocked, but his fellow beasts celebrate. Zhang begins castration with his acupuncture. However, after the procedure is done, Zhang only manages to take away the rooster's pain. The rooster takes a sigh of relief, making his dead fellows jealous. The kid notices his pet turtle missing and starts crying. Meanwhile, at the Yan Hei's aquarium, the rooster sees his fellows and begs and calls them for help in taking down the humans. However, our psychos are in awe of the beauty, and Lin Fan's system detects an energy source worth easing 50 years of hunger. All the aquarium fish start crying. The dead beasts find our protagonist barbaric for so much violence against them. The president of the aquarium is shocked when he hears that someone smashed the glass at the deep-sea fish exhibition. The president thinks it's impossible to break through a 20-meter-thick glass wall. However, he learns that the people who broke through were talents from the special department and passes out at the shock. Meanwhile, our protagonist stands before a feast of fried fish, and his only objective is to finish it all. While he enjoys the delicious food, the rooster hates them for their evilness. Zhang tries to feed the rooster, and like always, the rooster loves the taste. Soon enough, Zhang and the rooster feel full. Yingwo-sun is amazed to see them spot and eat well-hidden cursed beasts and gives a thumbs up to the rooster for turning its life around. On the other hand, a starfish tries to sneak past to tell the king about the rooster's treacherous behavior. Lin Fan sees the starfish and tells his friend he finds it cute. However, Zhang finds its feet ugly, so they let it go. Either way, the fish family finally unites in the afterlife. After a while, the rooster wakes up, realizing that it didn't explode this time and didn't even feel any pain. As they walk past a woman and a child, they see the odd-looking rooster and think it's a phoenix. The rooster realizes that his fellows will think he's devouring cursed meat to level up. However, the rooster only wants to save its life, and so he has to eat his fellow being. He remains determined to his heroic dream and tries to explain his situation to the level 7 cursed finches. However, the birds do not believe him and start attacking, calling him a traitor. Seeing another one of its kind turned into food, the rooster gets emotional, but our psychos enjoy their delicious treat. The rooster appreciates that the humans saved it when the cursed finches attacked. However, it still hates them for forcing it to lay eggs. The rooster now stays more determined than ever to take revenge for its fellow beasts. It no longer needs the approval of the others because it recognizes its true self. Meanwhile, Cyclops receives a shocking 30 million restoration fee from the aquarium. A week later, the Strongmen leaderboard updates, and everyone's shocked to see the team 666 climb up to 1,000 points. Seeing their scores, the fighters refuse to believe that the newbies killed so many beasts in a week. Meanwhile, Cyclops refuses to believe Yingwo-sun's report, so the spy shows him the beast's remains. Cyclops still doesn't believe it because anyone could slay the beasts. However, Yingwo-sun recorded the fights too. Cyclops realizes this could bring other people's attention and worries that Hu Li might find out. Suddenly, Hu Li barges into the room asking about the newbies. She sees Yingwo-sun and orders him to revalidate the newbies' accomplishments and suspend them if they turn out to be fake. She then orders him to leave and tells Cyclops that the capital headquarters has accepted the request to send support. However, the capital has a condition: to get Cyclops to explain everything in person. Cyclops refuses, arguing that he can't leave the city in such times. However, the capital headquarters has only agreed to send 2 city-level people to help if he explains the situation. Cyclops worries that something might go wrong if he leaves. Hu Li assures him that the capital has agreed to send a city-level fighter to take his place. Cyclops gets angry that she agreed in his place, but Hu Li orders him to go. Meanwhile, the headquarters starts blaring alarms about an extremely high energy wave alert, and when everyone shifts their attention to the danger, they see the new recruits and their leveled-up cursed beast, a level 8 rooster. The alarms continue to warn everyone about the super-advanced energy wave. Yingwo-sun tells Cyclops about the alarm, pissing him off. He then asks his boss how he should report the new recruit's pet reaching level 8. Cyclops tells the fighter that reporting isn't enough, and he'll personally explain everything in the research room. The group chat starts gossiping about the rooster reaching level 8 in 10 days. Cyclops meets our psychos to report the rooster. The assistant checks for safety and asks the newbies if the rooster is obedient. The newbies assure him that the rooster is very obedient. He then asks if it can get close to people without getting excited or agitated. Cyclops asks the recruits to demonstrate it, so they both hug the rooster. The doctor then asks if the animal obeys the owner's instruction and stays under control. Lin Fan demonstrates the obedience by asking the rooster to lay eggs. Everyone watching is shocked to see a rooster lay 2 eggs. Even the doctor gets surprised and marks the pet as obedient, seeing it change its body structure. The rooster falls into despair, having to do things it couldn't even do before, all for survival. After the safety test, Lin Fan and Zhang get stopped by a girl who asks them to show her the rooster. The girl takes the rooster and starts streaming about it, talking about its obedient nature. Suddenly, Cyclops walks in and snatches the rooster away to stop the girl from streaming. He returns the rooster back to its owners and tells them to be careful. On their way out, Zhang politely asks his friend to talk to Cyclops. So our protagonist speaks up and requests Cyclops to trust his friend. Cyclops feels good for being remembered. However, he's terrified of the acupuncture and tells the psychos to stay away from him. Cyclops tries to run away, trying to protect his only eye, but our newbies catch up to him, begging for just one chance. The 2 psychos start making cute faces, hoping the leader will let Zhang treat his eye. However, Cyclops loves his eye and wants to keep it to himself. Cyclops meets the strong man of Capital Headquarters, Kim Thuong Vo. He realizes this man sent the reinforcement before. Kim Thuong instantly notices the newcomers and their high-level pet. He tells Cyclops that their instant growth in points grabbed his attention. He confronts Cyclops for being the one behind their achievements. Cyclops now worries that the man might find out the truth about Lin Fan and Zhang. Right then, Thuong tells Cyclops that he already knows that the newcomers are his stepchildren. The man had investigated and found Cyclops as the guardian. However, he reveals that he already guessed their relationship because of Lin Fan's hair. Kim Thuong starts playing with the newbies and introduces himself. Both psychos extend their hand to greet their new uncle at the same time. Kim Thuong starts thinking about which one to shake first and reaches out for both, impressing Lin Fan. Cyclops interrupts the greeting and introduces his newcomers as his 2 sons. He tells the man that Zhang is experienced in acupuncture and can help him ease any discomfort. Kim Thuong reveals that he wanted someone to do acupuncture on him after his neck bone disease. Cyclops assures his friend that his son is the best and will relieve him of pain. A moment later, Zhang and his new subject sit ready for the treatment. Kim Thuong hesitates seeing the sewing needles, but Zhang assures him that he cleaned the blood off them, making the man worry even more. Zhang starts the treatment. Kim Thuong gets confused seeing himself stabbed in the forehead for a neck bone disease, but our psycho assures him that the places that aren't appealing are seen clearly. Zhang continues the procedure, and after the 13th needle, Kim Thuong starts seeing stars and galaxies. Seeing his new subject faint too, Zhang gets sad thinking that he failed. His friend assures him that he'll be fine and they need to take the patient to the hospital first. Knowing that Kim Thuong will be fine, Cyclops tells his newbies to go, and he'll take the patient to the hospital. As they leave, he stops them and asks them to take out the needles first. After the psychos take out the needles and leave, Cyclops undresses Kim Thuong and starts scanning him. Suddenly, the scanner detects an anomaly signature. Cyclops remembers the guard saying he was injured last month and thinks maybe he had surgery. Meanwhile, Kim Thuong starts to wake up. Cyclops tells him that he has been asleep for a while, and he has already called an ambulance in case he gets any side effects. Kim Thuong starts moving his neck around, feeling happy that his neck pain is gone after years, shocking Cyclops. But then, Cyclops feels relieved when Kim Thuong feels something uncomfortable. However, the only thing Kim Thuong feels uncomfortable with is his clothes. He turns away to check his clothes while Cyclops talks to the rescue center. Kim Thuong looks down in his pants and gets furious. He starts screaming at Cyclops, blaming him for the mistake, and attacks him. Cyclops tries to slow down to give his opponent a chance to be comfortable, but seeing the blast fly towards him, he prepares to return the favor. Cyclops throws his attack, but Kim Thuong's blast pierces through it, sending Cyclops out through the wall. Hu Li, coughing through the smoke, walks in to see if Cyclops received her uncle, but to her surprise, she finds her uncle attacking him. Cyclops gets up, realizing that his opponent has just become stronger. Cyclops, thinking it's just practice, asks Kim Thuong why he's hitting so hard. Kim Thuong gets furious, intending to take Cyclops' toy off. Cyclops asks for a chance to explain himself and suddenly realizes that Kim Thuong might know that he checked him. So, Cyclops accepts that he did it on his own and apologizes for doing it without consent. Kim Thuong gets even more furious, with an intent to kill. Cyclops whispers to Hu Li that her guess was right. Hu Li tells him he needs to leave in 2 days, but before that, Cyclops decides to get some treatment first. Kim Thuong furiously tells Hu Li to stay away from Cyclops, calling him a pervert. Hu Li asks what happened, but he gets ashamed and calms down, telling her that all is fine. He tells his niece that he needs to be careful to be safe from evil people. He hugs Hu Li and starts crying about how much he has lost. Meanwhile, the group chat starts gossiping about the powerful newbies and wonders if their pet helps them hunt the evil beasts. Hu Li gets furious reading the newbies' file, but then an assistant walks in to inform her that the defenses have been increased in the east and west. However, they don't have enough people to strengthen north and south in 2 days. Hu Li, eager to finish the defense in 2 days, suggests calling the graduates of the 4 major colleges, thinking that they must have finished their training. However, to her disappointment, not even one trainee passed the test, and all failed to take care of the mental patients. The cursed demon cockroach receives the news of hidden dory fishes, venomous tortoises, and the eel's death. The cursed beasts were trained to hide their energy waves so that the humans won't find them, which makes Ice Fox think someone from their kind has been sensing it. She takes the letter from the boss and informs him that the giant mantis team sent to the gorilla has disappeared too. She thinks that the gorilla revealed their ambush place and betrayed them, and promises to his boss to kill him before he can leak any information to humans. Meanwhile, at the abandoned factory, the level 8 giant grasshopper and 2-headed wolf confront King Kong for being a traitor. The gorilla leaps towards the beasts to attack them. The cursed grasshopper, with its sharp claws, throws its flashing sword shadows at the gorilla. The cursed chimp now stands before his fellows, trying to save himself. The 2-headed wolf takes a leap and scratches the gorilla's face. The wolf takes another leap and the gorilla punches it in the head. However, the wolf uses its second head and bites King Kong's hand. The gorilla stands his ground alone against 2 of his fellows. Our protagonist, along with his friend and pet, happens to pass, and his pet recognizes multiple level 8 cursed beasts. The rooster, now hoping that 4 level 8 beasts would be enough to kill his captives, drags them towards the scene. Lin Fan's system detects targets worth easing his hunger for 10 weeks. However, the rooster detects that one of the energy waves has disappeared. The rooster rushes to the scene, and when it gets there, it sees the beasts fighting each other. The rooster screams at the beasts for fighting each other. The grasshopper, standing above the gorilla, ready to end him. But then, the rooster, with its titan body, steps in and holds the grasshopper's claw and tries to get them to stop fighting. Suddenly, another gorilla jumps in and punches the grasshopper in the head. The grasshopper is thrown in the air. The rooster tries to get them to stop, but the gorilla leaps and smashes its head in an instant. With its final breath, the grasshopper calls the gorilla a traitor. King Kong thanks the rooster for his help, making him blush. The cursed rooster begs the gorilla for its help defeating the 2 evil humans. However, the gorilla recognizes our protagonist and his friend. He pets the rooster and tells it that he agrees that humans and beasts should live peacefully together. The gorilla says goodbye to his friends and comrade beasts and leaves. The rooster is shocked hearing King Kong's words and now calls him a traitor. He tries to get the grasshopper to wake up and explain that he's not the traitor. However, it's too late. A moment later, our protagonist and his friend cook the 2-headed wolf on fire and decide to reward the rooster with both heads for leading them. Seeing the humans not eat the insect, the rooster starts digging a hole to bury its fellow. The rooster gets shocked seeing himself drool all over, thinking about eating his fellows. It quickly shrugs off the thought, but then, our psychos call him in to eat the food. The rooster gets excited once again hearing about the food. It tries to convince itself that it hates eating the fellow cursed beast, but the delicious smell convinces it otherwise. Chang tells the rooster that the heads are his reward. The rooster, still refusing to accept that he loves the meat, tries to convince himself that he's being forced. The cursed rooster thinks that he's drooling because something is wrong with his genes. He promises his fellow comrades that he will get revenge for them. However, the dead beasts no longer trust him. After a little while, our recruits finished eating the 2-headed wolves. The system tells Lin Fan to collect the eating utensils and tools of the system. Suddenly, the Special Division Action Team reaches the scene. But to their surprise, the newbies have already defeated the 3 level 8 cursed beasts. Even more shocking is that they think the rooster is helping the team. Kim Thuong tells Zhang that his acupuncture was really effective and asks why they left. Zhang answers that Cyclops told them to go because he said it'd be inconvenient for them to stay. One of the fighters sees a paper on the ground. He picks it up and sees the drawing made by the gorilla. Meanwhile, the gorilla, injured from the grasshopper's poison, limps through the street and falls into an open pothole. The kidnappers from before walk the sewers when they find the gorilla knocked unconscious and start thinking about selling it to the zoo. His partner tells him that he could go to jail for doing something illegal. The kidnapper thinks about all the money he could make from the circus gorilla, but then shakes it off because his dream is now to build a sewer cleaning company. On the other hand, the fighters group chat now gossips about our heroes' feats of killing multiple cursed beasts together with the help of their cursed rooster. As Zhang and Lin Fan enter the headquarters, the system again alerts everyone of the beast's presence. Zhang sees the rooster sleeping for so long and worries that it might be sick. But then, they're welcomed by an action team of a special department with level 8 enhancers and the strategy leader, Hu Li. The leader orders the special team to take away the psychos and locks them up in a prison. She then takes their rooster and locks it down in the cursed beast's cage originally meant to hold level 7 creatures. The scientists wonder if the cage can even hold a level 8 creature, but with the rooster asleep, they can only have hopes. Huli orders the scientists to check the new recruiters for their physical health and emotional stability. She forbids them from letting them out if they fail no matter what, and asks them to check the recruits' DNA and poison with the enhancers. Meanwhile, Cyclops stands with the level 9 enhancer ordered by the headquarters to pick him up. He sees Huli coming in and asks her why she was so late. Huli, not revealing that she knows about the newbie's history, tells him she just needed to take care of some unstable sources. Cyclops tells Huli that he's leaving the city to her and Kim Thuong to take care of. However, Huli intends to cut him off once he's back. Cyclops grabs the strategy leader's hand and tells her that Kim Thuong is not familiar with the city's defense mechanism and fighter departments. As the head of the security department, he transfers the three-headed mind dragon to her for her protection and leaves in the helicopter. Meanwhile, Ice Fox informs her boss that the energy waves of the two-headed wolf and giant grasshopper have also disappeared, and she suspects that they're dead. With the gorilla's energy wave weakening, she thinks it got the poison and will die too. Ice Fox feels humanity's breath on the paper bird that her boss plays with. The demon cockroach smashes the paper. Ice Fox wonders why the humans in the area have left and suspects that her boss has a relationship with a human. On her lord's command, Ice Fox prepares to tell all the beasts to get ready for war. In the city, people walk their pets around when suddenly, they transform into giant cursed beasts. Everyone starts running for their lives as the cursed dogs rampage through the streets. The headquarters detects cursed energy at Hengchuan Road first, and one by one the whole city floods with the cursed beast's presence. Huli orders her team to immediately send in the action team and order them to bring in the creatures afterwards. Meanwhile, the people in the street start throwing and kicking their normal pets away, scared that they might be cursed creatures. The cursed dogs continue to crush humans and dogs alike. A woman, with her pet dog in her arms, runs for her life. The dog thinks about all the life that his owner gave him. However, the girl has no idea what her dog is. The dog feels sad that no one will adopt him, and it'll be useless even in his transformed form. Suddenly, the giant cursed dog leaps towards the woman. Right before the cursed dog could attack the woman, her pet dog, after 100 years of hiding, transforms into his true self and protects his owner. The cursed beast calls the level 6 Tengu a traitor. However, the woman was the one who loved her when his fellows laughed at him, and now he tries to protect her from the danger. The girl is shocked to see her tiny pet dog turn into a cursed beast. The dog turns towards her, and seeing her get scared, he gets disappointed. However, the dog remains faithful to its owner and fights its kind for her safety. He attacks the cursed dog, knocking its teeth out. The dog then runs towards its owner. The girl trembles in fear, and thinking it's going to attack her, she closes her eyes. However, the dog attacks the cursed level 6 two-headed python. It bit the python in the neck, knocking it out. But the python, with its second head, bites the dog's neck. Seeing her pet dog getting strangled by a giant python, the girl starts crying. Another level 6 snake sneaks up behind the woman and surrounds her. The snake leaps towards the woman with its jaws wide open, but suddenly the cursed dog smashes it into bits with his claws. The snake is cut into pieces. The giant python wraps itself around the dog to strangle it while the tiny snakes bite it in the legs. The dog, with its jaws clenched into the python's skin, smashes the little snake like an ant, and with his gifted claws, he severs the python's head and comes out victorious. The dog slowly reaches out to its owner, but suddenly, the fighter squad reaches the scene and attacks the dog. The level 7 team prepares to finish the dog off, but the woman desperately begs them to stop and tells them that the dog saved her life. Meanwhile, Ice Fox sees the betrayal from a distance and thinks the traitors are the reason they have to hide in the shadows. The woman hugs her dog as it lies bruised and weakened. She looks up and sees an ice spear flying down towards her pet. She covers the dog to protect it, but the dog pushes the woman aside and takes the hit instead. The woman cries seeing her pet sacrifice its life for her. The fighter squad gets shocked seeing the cursed beast protect a human. However, they realize that they're no match for the beast that hovers above them. Meanwhile, the headquarters runs into panic seeing the energy wave of a level 9 cursed beast. Earlier, they were only aware of the highest level 6 beast and sent 4 level 7 fighters. Then suddenly the signals of the level 7 team disappear. Huli remembers that she sent Renling's team to where the level 9 signal was coming from and orders her agents to call the team back off. However, the agent believes that the team went there because a human signaled them. Tears roll down from Huli's eyes seeing her fighters die. The agent suggests sending Jin Shangwu to help, but Huli refuses. She believes that if the creature that doesn't appear cheats and destroys the monitoring center, the Yanhai city will be destroyed. The strategy leader asks about the Yanhai team and local team, but the Yanhai team is already busy dealing with 2 cursed level 8 beasts and a level 4 in Fang Su. While the Yanhai deal with the cursed Kung Fu kangaroo, rabbit, and moat pig, the local team in the city center faces off against a level 7 three-tailed leopard and a speed-impaired dog. Huli thinks that the Renling team is their last resort, but to her disappointment, they are dead too. Meanwhile, Ying Wo-sun, understanding the gravity of the situation, resorts to releasing our psychos from the prison to save the civilians. Lin Fan is surprised to see him suddenly appear. However, Lin Fan had been noticing him all along. Ying Wo-sun is shocked to know that our protagonist always knew about his presence. He proceeds to open the prison gate but can't seem to know the password. But then Lin Fan breaks through the gate like nothing, leaving Ying Wo-sun surprised because he thought the door was indestructible. As our heroes leave for the battle, Zhang asks about picking up the chicken, but Lin Fan refuses, saying that the chicken only eats and they need to work right now. Ying Wo-sun starts explaining everything about the intelligence team, but when he looks around, he finds the recruits already gone. Meanwhile, in the destroyed city, the level 7 team lies dead. The little girl cries, hugging her pet, while Ice Fox belittles the level 7 heroes. The Renling team's healer, Ching Ching, tries to heal one of the fighters, but her powers are of no use on dead people. Ice Fox tells the team that they're here seeking death. The martial arts expect Xiao Shu and Chen Shu Wu to enter the fight. The team gets into formation, and Shu Wu uses his Tianjing Dragon Wind. The wind circles around Ice Fox. She draws up her ice shield and tries to escape, but the wind keeps her trapped. Ching Ching then jumps out to save the little girl and hurries her to safety. As the level 8 fighter walks the girl to safety, she looks back to take one last glimpse at her dog, and tears flood through her eyes. Suddenly, Ice Fox breaks through. Ching Ching sees the dragon windbreak and hurries the girl to safety. Ice Fox acknowledges that she underestimated the level 8 team, but then she rains ice blocks at the fighters. Chung Ming draws up a barrier to protect himself, while Xiao Shu barely blocks the attack with his seals. Ching Ching jumps in to heal her fellow fighter. However, Icebox remains determined to end them and sends in a cold bone mist. As the snowflakes strike Xiao Shu's barrier, the air gets colder, and Ching Ching and her friend start feeling cold. Suddenly, their bodies start freezing. Their teammates worry about them, but Ching Ching tells them to focus on saving people. As the snow mist falls, Chung Ming is surprised to see the snow penetrate through his barrier. They too start to freeze and their barrier breaks off. Ice Fox finds humans condemned by nature for their inability to withstand cold. Meanwhile, the city sirens announce the cursed creature attacks and advise the citizens to head to the schoolyard and park to hide. Our heroes walk through the scared crowd and bump into the girl saved by the Renling team. She recognizes the fighters and leads them to the Renling team. Ice Fox sees our protagonist and his friend arrive, confident that they're going to die at her hands. The Renling team gets annoyed seeing the girl return and tells the 666 team to run away, thinking they're here because of the rooster. Ice Fox throws ice spears at our heroes, but Lin Fan steps in and instantly grabs all her shots. The team is left surprised, but even more shock comes to Ice Fox seeing her attacks blocked. Zhang tells his friend he loves the beast's tail, but Lin Fan, thinking she's a human, tells his friend they can't take it. Ice Fox gets angry at being called human. With her denying that she's human, Lin Fan agrees to get its tail for his friend. Zhang worries that it'll hurt the beast, but his friend assures him that it won't. Our hero takes a leap and suddenly appears behind Ice Fox. Before she could turn around, Lin Fan pulled her tail off and handed it over to his friend. While Zhang feels happy receiving the fluffy tail, it pisses Ice Fox off. She jumps towards our protagonist with her sharp claws ready to shred him at once. The Renling team thinks Lin Fan is done for, but to everyone's surprise, he grabs her claw single-handedly. Ice Fox is shocked seeing him grab her with her powerful ability and wonders about their level. The system tells our hero that the beast can ease his hunger for 7 weeks and shows him instructions on how to eat it. Ice Fox thinks that the fighters think they're human and want it for that. She grows angry and tries to break free, but Lin Fan keeps her holding without even flinching and asks his friend if he finds her lovely. Zhang loves the tail, but he loves the fox's cute ears even more. Ice Fox trembles in fear, not knowing why as she faces Lin Fan. Our protagonist punches the cursed beast, smashing through its ice barrier and sending it flying in the air. The Renling squad is surprised to see the fighter's strength. Lin Fan still struggles to understand what this beast is. Ice Fox, bent on killing the humans, calls Tun Shui-Yu saying she agrees with him. Zhang starts looking around. Lin Fan's system recognizes an energy wave nearing in quickly. A water wave suddenly hovers over him. It wraps around Lin Fan and carries him away. The level 9 monster Tun Shui-Yu walks in, calling Ice Fox out for being wrong. Ice Fox agrees that she can't kill our protagonist. Shui-Yu grabs his fellow cursed beast and tries to get her to agree to be with him. He tries to convince her that ice turning into water and water turning into ice is the same, and suddenly kisses her, surprising anyone. Chen Shu-Wu suddenly remembers the gorilla's drawing and yells at our heroes to stop them from merging before they transform into something worse. However, it is too late. The two cursed beasts become one, turning into a level 10 Snow King. Everyone is shocked to see the cursed beast transform. A huge wall of water rises, lifting our protagonist and his friend into the air. The Snow King takes a leap and attacks the two fighters, throwing them back down. Lin Fan's level 5 defense system activates as he travels back down. His system recognizes the water system and warns him against it. Lin Fan and Zhang fall into the water. The system warns our protagonist to avoid the water and exit as soon as he can. He tries to stand back up, but the water wraps him all around. The Snow King, trapping the fighters in, brings up ice walls and fills them with the water. Jang feels paralyzed as the water level rises, but his friend assures him that he'll save him. The water continues to rise, and suddenly, the block of water freezes, trapping the fighters inside. The system tells Lin Fan to quickly release the gas and break the ice coffin before a mechanical wound is formed on his body. Meanwhile, back in the monitoring room of cursed creatures, the rooster wakes up, transformed into a human. He gets angry finding himself in the cage and throws it away. The now human rooster is shocked seeing himself throw such a huge cage, but when he takes a look at his wings, he's surprised to see human hands. The rooster falls into despair seeing himself turned into a human, but then, it sees its power and accepts the price for rising to level 9. The rooster, now a level 9 Li Wu Shu Shen, prepares to take revenge on the humans who humiliated him. Ready to exact revenge, Shu Shen flies through the skies looking for the psychos. He suddenly recognizes energy waves of his fellows, and, knowing that the humans must be fighting them, rushes in to save his fellows. Meanwhile, the headquarters detect the level 9 energy waves disappearing, but they also see the level 10 energy wave appear instantly and a third level 9 creature. Huli worries that this might be the end of Yanhei City, and asks if the Renling team is still alive. The agent reports that they're still receiving 2 signals, but it's coming from the place of a level 10 creature. However, when he pulls up the information on screen, Huli realizes that her prisoners have escaped. To everyone's surprise, the newbie's level 8 pet has also escaped and leveled up to 9. They believe that the rooster has reached the scene to protect the owner. At the battleground, as Shu Shen reaches the scene, the Renling squad gets scared, noticing a level 9 creature. They suddenly light up in excitement seeing the rooster, thinking it's here to save them. The Snow King calls the rooster a traitor. Shu Shen claims that he's here to kill the human, surprising the squad. He rushes towards the ice coffin, and the Snow King starts attacking him instead. Shu Shen gets angry at the Snow King for trying to kill him, but the level 10 king thinks he's trying to save them by pretending to fight them. The Snow King, not trusting the rooster because the humans cheered for him, starts attacking, but Shu Shen blocks it with his grasshopper claws. Meanwhile, the Renling squad still thinks they exposed the rooster for trying to save them when, in reality, the rooster was redeeming his chance of becoming a hero. Still considering him a traitor, the Snow King continues to attack his fellow. He finds his human breath disgusting and his leash a sign of betrayal. He refuses to believe that the rooster is not a traitor. The 2 cursed beasts exchange blows, but Shu Shen still tries to convince his fellow. The Snow King holds him down with his water powers. Shu Shen tries to fly up, but the water keeps dragging him down. The Snow King uses ice power, but the rooster uses his water wall to block. However, the Snow King's power proves to be stronger, and he traps Shu Shen around the ice blocks. Shu Shen uses the water power again, but it proves to be useless. The Snow King starts laughing at him, boasting about his superior power. Suddenly, Shu Shen uses his electric power. The current flows through the water and burns the Snow King to a crisp. Although the rooster manages to hurt him, the Snow King still remains powerful. He quickly moves towards his opponent and swings his sharp attack. Shu Shen uses his titanization to block, but then the Snow King kicks him and throws him into the ground. The cursed level 10 beast knows the rooster is powerful and has a lot of abilities. However, it lacks the experience in combat. He runs towards his fellow being, ready to end him, but then Shu Shen uses his true power. A second later, the Snow King comes to his senses, confused and wondering why he can't attack. Suddenly, the rooster uses his power in the deep sea. The Snow King is surprised to see his opponent with deep sea powers. His head starts to hurt. The rooster screams at him that he's not the traitor, and right then, the Snow King uses his sharp tail and goes straight for Shu Shen's neck. Right before the Snow King's sharp tail could pierce the rooster, he uses his evil eye. The Snow King starts hallucinating, seeing figures of beasts. He breaks down and bends his knee, accepting his opponent's strength. But when Shu Shen lets his guard down, the Snow King attacks him in his leg and cuts his head off with his sharp claws. The whole Renling squad is shocked. The Snow King gets up, triumphant in battle. He takes his claw out of the rooster's body and walks away. However, when the Snow King turns away, Shu Shen gets back up and grows another head, but this would be his last chance. He faces off against his fellow, no longer underestimating him. They both leap towards each other. Their claws strike each other, and they exchange blows and banter. However, the Snow King sneaks in an attack and digs his sharp edges into the rooster's stomach. He throws the rooster into a corner with a king. Shu Shen digs his claws into the ground and gets on his feet. The Snow King, pushed to the edge of his abilities, struggles to fight. He uses his snow ability, and the snowflakes pierce through the rooster's body. Shu Shen starts coughing up blood, but so does the Snow King. The level 10 cursed beast gets confused, wondering why he's hurt. Suddenly, he realizes that his opponent used toxic bullets in his attacks, and gets even more furious. Meanwhile, Lin Fan struggles to move around in the ice coffin. With only 10 seconds left, he nears the ice wall, but his friend only has 5 seconds to live. Our protagonist could still break the ice coffin, but he can also pause time by walking into the other realm and become stronger. The system can't see why he has to save someone stealing his reward. However, our protagonist does not want to leave his friend behind. He moves into the other realm, pausing the time in this one. Now all he has to do is finish the mission and get stronger. Lin Fan enters the world where time stops, and all he has to do is help the descendant of the fire god, Ju Fei, be on the right path. Two bruised, scared girls apologize to Ju Fei and promise to be obedient. They cry and promise that they won't run away again. Lin Fan notices himself transformed into another person with different memories. He realizes that Ju Fei has done terrible things, but he also knows he's not crazy. Suddenly, Wang Meng, his bodyguard, knocks on the door to inform Ju Fei that Duan Shanhu wants to meet him. Ju Fei answers the door and tells his guard about the girls inside and orders him to send them home. Wang Meng dresses his master up and tells him that the 8th Lord is also invited to the meeting. The 8th Lord is highly respected, but Ju Fei doesn't care much about him. As Fei gets inside the car, he startles his bodyguard by thanking him for the first time ever. Wang Meng asks Ju Fei what he'll do about the 8 lords asking him to hand over his territory to Duan Shanhu. One of the guards advises against it, but the other one doesn't think they have any choice. The guards are impressed by Fei's carelessness. However, they don't know it's just Lin Fan missing his friend. Ju Fei turns to his guard and asks him what being on the right path means. The guards find his simple questions scary and wonder if he wants Duan Shanhu to leave the Black Gang. As they reach the place of the meeting, Wang Meng gets out of the car and gets angry seeing so many guards standing outside. He tells Ju Fei to wait while he calls more guards, but Ju Fei stops him. Seeing Ju Fei fearlessly walk through an army of bodyguards, the guards can't help but be impressed by his bravery. He bravely heads inside the palace and sits beside Duan Shanhu. However, Duan Shanhu grows frustrated because Ju Fei sat on his side, and he now can't grab the gun hidden under the table. Meanwhile, the 8th Lord sits beside them and starts feeling awkward, remembering their previous heated meeting. Duan Shanhu starts wondering if our protagonist knows about his gun. Ju Fei, hungry, calls for food. The waiter brings in the meal, surprised because he thought it was just a business meeting. Duan Shanhu starts wondering when they're going to talk business, or if he's getting the territory or not. Our protagonist starts eating, without caring for anyone's influence. After he finishes eating, Duan Shanhu thinks they're finally going to talk about business. However, Ju Fei just gets up and starts to walk away. Duan Shanhu gets angry that his opponent is walking away without giving him what he wants. He pulls out his gun and points it at our hero to threaten him. Ju Fei's guards pull out their guns, turning the meeting into a Wild West standoff. With the guns pointed at each other, Duan Shanhu tells our hero that he can't leave without farting. Our protagonist takes it literally, confused by the weird request but farts anyway, and starts to walk away again. Duan Shanhu gets even angrier and threatens to shoot our hero. Ju Fei's guard and Duan Shanhu stand against each other, ready to pull the trigger. But seeing our hero's unwavering bravery, Duan Shanhu starts trembling and gives up. The 8th Lord finds our hero's courage impressive, but Ju Fei pays no attention to him and leaves. The 8th Lord gets angry for not being respected, but he feels even more disrespected when he learns that he was only here to pay the bill. Later on their way out, the guards sing praises of Ju Fei's daring standoff. But our hero is only missing his old friend. Wang Meng then takes him to the orphanage and tells him that he'll soon get this place. A little girl opens the door, and seeing the bad guys, she runs to the director crying. An old woman comes out, begging our hero to not destroy the orphanage. Our protagonist remembers his old friend telling him that a bad environment could make the kids' lives worse, and offers to help the woman. The director gets scared thinking that he wants to take away the kids. Ju Fei asks the woman if she has the money to fix the place. His guards think he's trying to force her to sell, but to their surprise, he orders Wang Meng to give her the money. Wang Meng tells his boss that the contract hasn't been signed, but our hero tells him that he doesn't need that because they're going to help them. Wang Meng gets confused, thinking by helping, his boss means to kill the orphans. But later in the card, the guard asks his master why they gave the money to the old woman, and our hero answers that they're now becoming the good guys. Meanwhile, Xu Jin tortures one of Ju Fei's henchmen for running away. He tells Shiso Dalong that his master has dealt with people like him and takes him to his boss. Xu Jian kicks the prisoner in front of his master and asks for his punishment. But to his surprise, Ju Fei pities the man for already being too injured and wishes that his friend was there to heal him. Shiso Dalong starts trembling and explains to his master that he had to leave to take his mother to the hospital. He begs his master to not kill his mother and asks for more time, promising that he'll return. Xu Jian, with his 3 years of undercover spy experience, notices Ju Fei's odd behavior and suspects something is off. Meanwhile, the bodyguards can't understand why their master ordered them to go to the hospital and donate blood to Dalong's mother and pay the hospital fees. However, Wang Meng explains that his boss meant it as a metaphor for blood, and Ju Fei will kill both Dalong and his mother. The bodyguards now feel satisfied with their boss's left hand. On the other hand, Xu Jian sits on the toilet, scrolling on his phone while his friend yells at him to hurry. The news reporter visits the children's orphanage to report Zhu Fei's generous donations. Due to a habit of constantly reporting his criminal activities, she keeps portraying a criminal image of him, but keeps correcting herself. She confirms with the director about our mafia boss's donations. Duan Shanhu, watching the news, grows angry thinking that our hero bribed the woman to say good things about Zhu Fei. Meanwhile, our protagonist watches all the murder videos and thinks about how scared his friend would be watching this violence. He imagines Zhang doing acupuncture on dead men and wonders how someone bad can turn good. Lin Fan remembers the president advising him to call police when there's a problem. So, our hero calls the police to ask them how someone with a lot of bad conduct can become a good person. The policewoman confirms if the bad thing is criminal and suggests that they should take responsibility for their crime. She explains that he should turn himself in soon for leniency. Zhu Fei ends the call and tells Wang Meng that he wants to be a good person, so he and all the others have to turn themselves into the police for the crimes. The system considers Lin Fan's act reckless and usually suggests cleaning up the gang and leading everyone to a right path. At first, Wang Meng gets shocked and scared, but then he thinks his boss is trying to test his loyalty. So, he cheerfully agrees to Zhu Fei's idea and tells him he fully supports it. Zhu Fei asks him to invite everyone in the group to some place and add drugs to their food. Wang Meng still thinks it's a test of action and confidently agrees. Meanwhile, Xu Jian and his other guard receive the invitation to the dinner. The guard gets excited, but Xu Jian can't help but think something big is going down. Later, Xu Jian reports the big invite to his superior. They doubt his intel after the Renhe hospital failure. However, Xu Jian tells them how much he had sacrificed, his partner and his pet, and he lost his home. The boss takes a sigh and promises to his officer that he'll get everything once the operation is over. Xu Jian remains committed to his efforts of bringing the Zhu Fei gang down and assures his boss that his instinct will pay off. At the dinner, all the gangsters continue celebrating their feast. One of the thugs calls the manager because he wants the girls to serve them. The manager explains that the girls are on a women's care day leave and only men can serve them. However, the truth is that women have refused to serve the thugs. The gangster gets angry and grabs the manager by his collar and insists on having female waiters. He swings his hand to slap the manager, but then Zhu Fei steps in and grabs his hand. The thug turns pale, thinking he's going to die, but Zhu Fei only asks him if he had food. The thug starts feeling dizzy and slowly passes out. One by one, the whole gang feels dizzy and passes out. Wang Meng tells his boss that he drugged the food himself to avoid the info getting leaked. Zhu Fei appreciates his guard and tells him he can now call the police. Wang Meng gets shocked, but thinking that it's still a loyalty test, he agrees, and tells his master that he'll agree to anything, even if he has a gun pointed at him. Suddenly, Wang Meng's wish is fulfilled, and a policeman points a gun at his head. The whole police squad, pointing their guns at the gang, tells them that someone reported the criminal activities. Zhu Fei raises his hand and tells them that he called the police, leaving them surprised. He hands them over a computer with evidence of not just his crimes, but the crimes of other people. The police are shocked seeing all the evidence and take the mafia boss into custody. In the police car, Wang Meng still thinks that he's being tested and asks for instructions. Meanwhile, the policeman puts the cuffs on Xu Jian, saying that their boss has gone crazy for turning them in. The police director steps in and tells Xiao Wu to leave the criminal to him and sends him to the hotel staff. He then congratulates Xu Jian for finishing his job. Meanwhile, Duan Shanhu and the Eighth Lord celebrate their opponent's crazy act and discuss distributing his territories. However, before they could talk division, the police squad barged in, pointing their weapons at them. It turns out that the evidence that Zhu Fei handed over contained some evidence of the opponent's crimes. Duan Shanhu bangs the table in anger, cursing Zhu Fei. The judge announces his final judgment and sentences Duan Shanhu to death based on conclusive evidence. Although Zhu Fei's evidence of his crime was conclusive too, due to his act of turning himself in, the judge suspended his death sentence. Having finally taken out the gangs polluting the city, Xu Jian feels relieved and asks when he can get his identity back to claim his pets. To his surprise, the boss reveals that the inspection team thinks that Zhu Fei's criminal record and past behavior suggest that there may be someone behind him, and the superiors want Xu Jian to go undercover in prison to find out the mastermind. The boss understands how difficult his officer's life will be and suggests himself as his boyfriend. Xu Jian remains dedicated to his duty and agrees to go undercover. Meanwhile, the boss insists on making himself his officer's boyfriend and tries to convince Xu Jian about it. The thugs watch their boss's interview on the TV, claiming that he drugged everyone to help them become a good person. All the gangsters turn towards Zhu Fei in anger. Our protagonist tells them they don't need to thank him. Xu Jian watches the whole scene and thinks the warden really hates Zhu Fei, so he put him with his underlings in the prison. However, he realizes that he won't have to work if Zhu Fei dies in prison. The gangsters, trying to exact revenge, plot against their master. Zhu Fei and the other prisoners continue their labor. Xu Jian knows the thugs will go for it now and decides to call the guards. Xu Fei calls Wang Meng to bring him more seeds when a thug slowly sneaks up behind him. The thug jumps at him to stab Zhu Fei in the back. Wang Meng comes running in to save his boss despite him turning them all in to the police. Right before the thug nearly stabs the mafia boss, Xiao Delong steps in to protect him. Wang Meng and Delong surround their boss to keep him safe from the attacks. All the thugs gather around, ready to finish it off while the guards run into the field. The thugs jump in to attack Zhu Fei. Wang Meng and Delong step aside, and our hero swings a punch and sends the thugs far into the field, shocking everyone with his strength. Our hero warns his thugs to stay away from Delong and Wang Meng because he thinks their punches will be painful. All the thugs realize the power of their boss and kneel before him, swearing loyalty once again. 3 years later, Zhu Fei gives the prison guard a bag of money to send to the Flower Children's home as a donation. To the guard's surprise, all the other prisoners hand over their earnings for donations as well. Xu Jian refuses to give his money, arguing that he's saving it for his pets. But our hero's guards step in and force him to obey their boss. At last, everyone hands over their money, and our hero thinks that he can now return to save his friend. However, Zhu Fei still hasn't changed and will return to his criminal life, so Lin Fan needs to continue his mission. 3 more years pass, but the mission still doesn't complete, making our hero sad. However, during these 3 years, the police didn't find Zhu Fei's contacts with anyone on the outside, so they relieve Xu Jian from his undercover mission. The boss adds that the organization is still trying to observe Zhu Fei's unusual behavior, but Xu Jian doesn't think that he's crazy. 60 years later, Zhu Fei finally gets out of prison. The news reports the mafia boss's transition from being a criminal to donating his labor money to the orphanage. A little girl walks up to him as he gets out of the prison door. She calls Zhu Grandpa, hands him a bouquet of flowers, and thanks him for helping the orphanage. Lin Fan, finally hearing that he's a good person, asks if he can return to save Zhang. The system doesn't acknowledge Zhu Fei's life has changed, but with his age, he no longer has the opportunity to return to crime. So, the system marks the mission complete and sends Lin Fan back to his world. However, the fire god curses our hero for ruining his descendant's life. Lin Fan immediately returns to his realm, and the countdown starts. Our protagonist gains a new god-level ability, Flame Control, as a reward for completing his mission. The system asks if he wants to use his ability to break the ice coffin. The block of ice starts to glow red from the inside, and then suddenly its walls shatter and a huge fire blast comes out. The Snow King starts sweating in shock, and suddenly the fire blast strikes him, burning him away. Shushin is left shocked seeing his level 10 fellow burn to ashes with a single flame. Zhu hugs his friend for saving his life and turns to Shu Shen, who looks familiar. The rooster trembles in fear and begs its owners to not kill it, claiming he's their pet. The psychos see the rooster's transformed body and wonder if it'll still lay eggs for them. Accepting that the rooster can no longer lay eggs, Lin Fan suggests making soup. Meanwhile, Zhu Fei in the other realm suddenly comes to his senses. He starts looking around trying to find the 2 girls in his room. As he screams at Wang Meng, he suddenly notices something strange about his voice. Xu Fei wonders why he feels powerless. He notices Wang Meng and fails to recognize him in his old age, but his shock only grows when he notices his hands and his face. The mafia boss is shocked to see himself old and wonders how many years it has been. He starts trembling when he learns that 66 years of his life passed in the blink of an eye, and he passes out from the shock of learning that he's become a good person. Wang Meng and Delong start crying seeing their boss collapsed on the floor. Later, the people carry the late mafia boss's coffin and cry for the one they swore loyalty to. Back in his world, Zhang gives the Renling team tips on how to run the rule of law. The rooster now returns to its original form, and Zhang notices a little girl crying, hugging her severely injured beast. He offers to help the dog with his acupuncture, and with Lin Fan's assurances, the girl agrees. A moment later, the beast comes to life with our expert's technique, and Lin Fan's system detects an energy source to ease his hunger for 4 weeks. However, both our heroes don't want to eat it because they don't find the beast cute. Zhang tries to help the Renling team with his acupuncture. However, they are too injured from Lin Fan's fire ability, so he doesn't think they can be saved. Lin Fan tells his friend that he's gotten a lot stronger and feels bad for injuring the fighters. He adds that the psycho in his head told him it's a level 4 fire, which is difficult to control. Zhang reassures his friend that he can't be blamed, and with his new powers, they turn to help more people. The rooster is now shocked seeing the humans grow even stronger. He fears that he'll have to serve them his whole life, and hopes that there's someone stronger than them. A little while later, the Renling team wakes up and finds the newbies and their pet rooster gone. Seeing all their injuries that only 10th grade or national level healers could cure gone, the fighters wonder if the newbies healed them. They instantly start cheering for their new heroes and their strength. The Renling team realizes they can now protect Yanhei City better and suggest contacting the monitoring center to rescue more people. However, their faces turn pale when they hear about the horrors at the monitoring center. An hour ago, a cockroach entered the monitoring center, and the alarm started picking up on a level 10 or higher cursed beast. Huli's face turns pale in horror when she learns that the national level cursed beast has entered the monitoring station. Suddenly, the demon cockroach grabs one of the agents by the neck and cracks it. All the other agents run for their lives in panic. Huli is shocked that the cursed beast found the entire Yanhei city surveillance and silently infiltrated. However, seeing his humanoid shape, she wonders if it's even a beast. The demon cockroach throws the human into the wall and walks towards the strategy leader. Huli trembles seeing death approach her slowly. The demon cockroach takes a leap and swings his kick. Huli raises her hand to hide herself, and suddenly, Cyclops' heart dragon comes out and saves her. As the dragon keeps the demon cockroach tied, she realizes that if it wasn't for Cyclops, she would have died. Right then, Kim Thuong steps in with his fingertip sword dance. As his attack nears the beast, he breaks free from the dragon, and the two energies collapse. Kim Thuong attacks once again, and as the shots fire towards the beast, he tries to run, but the fire strikes him in the head. Kim Thuong uses another attack directly at the demon cockroach and cuts his head off from his body. Seeing the demon cockroach with his head severed, Huli wonders if he's dead, but she knows that killing a high-level beast can't be that easy. As she turns around, she sees the cursed beast wake up and attack her uncle. She tries to scream for her uncle to turn around, but by then, the cockroach lands his kick and throws Kim Thuong into the wall. The fighter gets back up. With his bones broken, he wonders if he can survive against an immortal beast. The demon cockroach runs to attack his opponent. Kim Thuong uses his dance of swords, but the beast dodges through it. He swings his kick and nearly ends his opponent's life in an instant. But then, Cyclops enters with a dramatic entry and grabs the demon's leg with his dragon. He then uses his world-destroying palm. The demon cockroach tries to free himself, but Cyclops cuts his arm. Cyclops then uses his magic 5-element array around the beast. The dragon keeps the demon cockroach trapped in the magical circle. When Huli told Cyclops that the headquarters wants him to leave Yanhei City, she suspected already that the headquarters either didn't believe them or didn't care about their city. She had to take the bait because the headquarters agreed to send town-level fighters in exchange for Cyclops because they wanted him out of the city. Huli suspected that there was a traitor inside the headquarters that could affect one of the 4 people capable of making a decision. Huli thinks the town-level fighters are just pawns, which is why she had them scanned by Cyclops for trackers. She asked Cyclops to cooperate because they needed the town-level fighters' help and asked him to turn back from halfway. Huli knows that an attack will happen when Cyclops leaves the city, which would mean that they'd know about him leaving. Cyclops realizes that if they know about him leaving, that means the traitor and the cursed beasts are connected. But Huli believes that it also means that the cursed beasts will be able to easily find the cameras and defenses of the entire Yanhei city. On Cyclops' signal, Kim Thuong prepares for the final kill. He releases electricity on the demon cockroach. The current keeps him tied while the thunder rumbles in the sky. The lightning comes down from the heavens with a blinding intensity and strikes the demon cockroach. Smoke spreads everywhere as the lightning burns the demon cockroach to a crisp. The cursed beast falls, and in a crippling suspense the fighters wonder if it's dead. Seeing the beast's corpse still around, Huli yells that it'll be reborn soon. Suddenly, the demon cockroach jumps behind Cyclops and kicks him into the wall. Cyclops coughs up blood as his team worries about his safety. With his injured body, Cyclops can't even guard a kick. He remembers Yingwo Sun handing him a paper of the gorilla's drawing and realizes that the cursed beast's ability is rebirth. Cyclops realizes that his opponent cannot be killed. Suddenly the demon cockroach runs towards him and hits him into the wall again. Cyclops uses his destroyer palm to attack, but the cursed beast sees it coming and dodges the attack. He punches Cyclops in the stomach. Our fighter grabs his hand and releases his dragons. The dragons strike the beast and throw him away. Cyclops and his teammates consider giving up. Kim Thuong uses his attack to distract the cursed beast, and Cyclops takes this opportunity and takes a leap to attack. Cyclops, with his 11 dedicated years, refuses to give up. Meanwhile, the rooster recognizes an energy wave stronger than the level 10 beast. Realizing that the king's rumor might be true, he gets excited thinking the king will finally save him. The rooster turns into his humanoid form and grabs Lin Fan's hand to guide him to people who need help. The system informs our protagonist that it detects an energy wave to ease his hunger for a year. He grabs his pet and friend and runs towards the beast in excitement. Our newbies stand outside the building, not seeing anyone needing help. Suddenly, someone blasts through the windows and falls on the floor. Zhang recognizes Cyclops and runs towards him to offer him acupuncture to heal him. Cyclops shouts at him to run away. Suddenly, the demon cockroach jumps in and attacks Zhang. Lin Fan sees his friend get hurt and immediately catches him from falling. Seeing his friend injured in his arms, our hero gets angry. He tells Zhang to wait and assures him that he'll be fine. The rooster cheers in excitement, seeing his freedom in the future. He cheers for his king's strength. Lin Fan gets up and jumps towards the cursed beast. He punches the demon cockroach in the face and throws him in the air. The rooster and Cyclops get shocked seeing Lin Fan's strength far bigger than the national-level beast. The demon cockroach leaps towards our protagonist and tries to punch him. But right before he could land his fist, Lin Fan swings his and slams the beast into the ground. As he continues punching the beast, another one of his bodies appears behind. He tries to kick Lin Fan in the head, but our hero sees it coming. He He grabs the cursed beast's leg and slams him into the ground again. He then punches the demon in the stomach. Right then, another one jumps at Lin Fan from behind. Our hero takes his hand out of the corpse and grabs the cursed demon by his throat and tears it off of his body, leaving the rooster shocked. Cyclops is left shocked and amazed at Lin Fan's ability as he meets his opponent with unmatched power. His shock grows as Lin Fan continues to defend and attack his opponent brutally, and Cyclops knows that if it wasn't for the demon cockroach's resurrection ability, it would have died long ago. However, the national-level cursed beast can be reborn, so the only way the battle ends is with Lin Fan losing. Or at least that's what Cyclops thinks. Our protagonist smashes his opponent to the ground, but then it returns with another body and swings a leg against him. Lin Fan grabs his leg and throws him back once more. The demon cockroach lands an attack on Lin Fan, leaving everyone shocked. The two opponents face off against each other. They both take a leap, and the demon cockroach lands his fist on our hero's face, but Lin Fan smashes his face again. The beast returns from behind once more. Our hero grows tired. His system alerts him that his Qigong cultivation to the late Earth stage is at the end. The system starts a 10-second timer. Lin Fan takes a leap. His fist starts to glow as he uses his God-given skill, Flame Control. As the fist nearly reaches the demon cockroach's face, our protagonist's power increases. The flame enters the second stage, burning blue, and then the third stage in green ghost fire, moving to the final stage, earth fire, soul explosion. At the last second, our hero manages to land a punch directly at his opponent's face, and his body's energy exhausts out. The demon cockroach falls to its knees and dies in an instant. The rooster is shocked seeing the king's energy disappear and starts trembling at our hero's terrifying presence. He feels too paralyzed to move. Our protagonist walks up to his friend lying on the floor. The system alerts that Zhang's heart has stopped. Lin Fan grabs his friend, not believing the voices in his head. His eyes start to fill with tears as he tries to remind his friend of his promise. Suddenly, our hero is taken into a flashback when he first entered the hospital. The president assured him that it's okay to be scared of other people except for him. Lin Fan notices Zhang offering acupuncture to a patient and asks if he can be with him, and the president tells him that this is the most unstable of all. Heiran unties the patient while the staff drags old Zhang away. Zhang tries to resist and begs them to let him practice. The patient hugs the dean in relief for being saved. Dean Heiran takes Lin Fan to his room and tells him that his mother is abroad for work, and the hospital staff will take care of him. The nurse wonders why the dean is giving the little kid a separate room when the ward is full, but it all clears up when little Lin Fan asks for hammers, chainsaws, and other stuff for his training. A little while later, the staff kept having to take our hero to the operation ward because he kept hurting himself. Meanwhile, old Zhang kept sneaking away and performing acupuncture on other patients. So the staff grew tired and ended up locking Zhang in confinement. He asks the dean to let him go out, promising that he won't do anything bad. But Heiran knows he can't be deceived by Zhang's face. He decides to look for Cyclops to hypnotize all the employees so they don't get deceived by Zhang. Meanwhile, the staff gets tired of taking care of Lin Fan all day. Since both his arms are in casts, they think they can take a nap. But then, Lin Fan sneaks away and goes up to Zhang's window. They both tell each other that they want to practice, but the staff won't let them. Lin Fan offers to take Zhang's acupuncture because that'll help him practice too. They both introduce each other, and Zhang promises to always help his new friend cultivate. The nurses suddenly wake up and panic, finding Lin Fan escaped. They hurry to look for him, but find him passed out with needles poked in his face. The staff rushes the kid to the hospital, blaming the old man. Zhang gets upset, thinking that his new friend will never come to see him again. But then, Lin Fan comes back for another chance. He hands his friend the needles that he sneaked away from the doctors. Zhang jumps in excitement seeing his friend return. Lin Fan tells him that his technique helped him, and he saw a bridge and a beautiful white-haired person waving at him. Zhang starts thinking that his technique needs more study, and once again, Lin Fan passes out with needles in his face. Lin Fan returns back to his friend and gives his little bow to Zhang because he finds it pretty. Zhang cheers in joy, having received a gift for the first time, and decides to return it with his upgraded acupuncture technique. He pulls out his needles and performs the acupuncture to help his friend get stronger. But like all the other times, our hero passes out, and the staff rushes him to the doctor. The dean gets angry after learning that it's the 8th time Lin Fan has been stabbed in a month, but the nurses complain that they get tired of watching him all the time and ask the dean to hire more people. Heiran realizes that he's short on staff, and since both his patients are willingly stabbing and getting stabbed, he decides to put them together. Meanwhile, Zhang is surprised and excited when Heiran tells him that someone finally agreed to take his needles. The dean tells him that he and Lin Fan are going to live together and warns them against disturbing other people. As he walks out, the dean thinks if Lin Fan getting stabbed to death would be good for them, but he quickly changes his statement seeing the staff's shock. However, after hearing Heiran's comment, the staff wonders if they should keep the psychos apart. Back in the room, Zhang keeps watching his new friend. As Lin Fan wakes up, Zhang informs him that the dean put them together, Both get excited that they can now practice together and promise each other to be best friends forever. Lin Fan returns to the present, begging his friend to wake up. As his tears fall on Zhang's chest, he starts to gain consciousness. Zhang feels excruciating pain and calls his friend. Our hero's system detects Zhang's vitals recovering as he slowly gains consciousness. Lin Fan starts smiling, seeing his friend return, and tells him that he believed in him. The system gets angry that his host didn't believe him, but then it detects a crash risk. Zhang suddenly starts screaming and tells his friend that the demon cockroach kicked him and it hurts. He hugs his friend, crying, but Lin Fan assures him that he got his revenge by killing the beast many times. Meanwhile, the demon cockroach and ice fox curse our hero, but the other beasts assure him that it's better than being fed to the rooster. The rooster feels relieved that Zhang is alive because it too felt like dying. Zhang assures his friend he's not hurt anymore and asks if Cyclops is okay. The rooster starts looking for its king's body while the psychos are away. He starts imagining the demon cockroach on a grill and starts burying him before the humans eat it. Zhang sees Cyclops severely injured and offers his acupuncture, but Cyclops rudely refuses even after Lin Fan tries to convince him. Meanwhile, the rooster continues digging and suddenly sees a dead cockroach. It eats the cockroach, pissing the demon beast off even more. While the dead beasts try to console their king, the rooster wonders what his true form was. Suddenly, the rooster feels a strong energy in its body and starts to hurt. The dead beasts get excited thinking the rooster is finally going to die, but then it starts flying and rises to the national level of Cursed Beast, leaving everyone surprised. Zhang worries that the rooster will fly away and not return. The rooster, now at the national level, finally decides to take his chance. But as it flies towards Lin Fan, it realizes that if the king couldn't beat him, it can't either. So he just acts like a good pet and goes back to his owner. Everyone is shocked to see the psychos keep a national-level cursed beast as a pet. Huli is amazed at how they didn't just kill a national-level creature but also have one as a pet. She thanks the psychos for saving Yanhei City. Meanwhile, the surviving fighters continue to heal the injured, and Huli leaves a message in the group, thanking all the survivors for keeping the city and the dead for their sacrifices. The whole group chants the motto of remembering the dead and the living are strong, quite literally survival of the fittest. However, they are also amazed by the newbies now having a national-level pet and start gossiping about their strength.